All right. Welcome. This is the Xbox 2 podcast coming to you live Friday, May 3rd. I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19. This is episode 314, if I'm not mistaken. I'm here. A lot of things been going on this week. And joining me, we have the double agent of chaos himself. Give a standing ovation for Jez Corden.
If we were a professional podcast, we would have had some
been...
lightning or sound effects. Because apparently, guys, I am the double agent of chaos for Xbox. So that's my new title. I'm going to put it on my resume.
Double agent of chaos.
Double agent of chaos. I really like.
I should have did this to be like introducing the double agent of chaos. Jez Corden.
Yes, exactly. We do have a slight soundboard. Yeah. We always talk about we should add more sounds to that, but we never do. And it's like the default Discord sounds you've got rocking there.
I know, right?
But hey, yeah, double agent of chaos. Yeah, it's been an eventful week, and I just want to give Sony a shout out. Actually,
giving Sony a shout out. What for? What did they do? Did they take some heat off you, Jez?
Yeah, they did. They took some heat off me today with their own drama. So it's always the thing. It's like, oh well, everyone's mad at you now, but like they'll find something else to be mad about later.
They were mad at you yesterday.
They were. But people found something else to be mad about really quick, But them's the ropes, But hey, we've got a good show. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of good stuff to talk about, a lot of positive stuff, and and clarifications, I suppose we'll be doing. But yes. How have you been, Rand? You've been all right.
I've been all right. I gotta say, you were every PlayStation's fans' number one guy yesterday. They were touting you from the rooftops. People that had slandered your name for months and for years. People would be like, "You can't believe Jez Corden, right? Xbox cheerleader." Suddenly, you were their favorite personality, their favorite journalist, their favorite insider. They couldn't say a bad thing about you yesterday. What happened? You went from, as Cody Rhodes would say, undesirable to undeniable.
Oh, damn. I like that.
Yeah. You became you went from enemy number one to the prophet that they all bow down to. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Oh man. Well, this is the thing, you see. When you say something that people like, they love you. And then when it's something that doesn't fit the narrative, then they all get mad, And unfortunately, it was just an opinion. It wasn't necessarily a report that, unlike, some outlets put out that it was a report or a leak,
clickbait,
even though
perhaps?
It wasn't.
Were people clickbaiting on your good name, sir?
I don't even think it's that.
Trying to get clicks and engagement?
It's beyond that. They did no due diligence whatsoever. And, I thought people say I'm unprofessional, But hey, that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
Neither here
nor there. We've got a lot to talk about this week. And I don't know if you want to... Any housekeeping we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things we need to do. I'm gonna make mention of the reason we're just maybe a couple minutes late, because I always see people like, "Oh, they're late." The show starts usually around 3:15 or 2:15, depending. I guess 15 after wherever you're at, whatever time it is, in your where you live. We were a little bit late this time because Jez sent me the Patreon list for the text scroller, but it sort of broke and I couldn't fix it. So that's why it's not, you don't see it scrolling. So, we love all of our Patrons. They're supposed to be scrolling throughout the show, but I couldn't get it fixed in time, so I'll get it fixed for next week.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed.
Yeah, because I know Jez is like, "Oh, here's a new thing," and then I just couldn't get it working properly. It looked all awful and stuff. Not saying it doesn't normally look awful because, I don't know, it like looks fine on my end, but then sometimes it doesn't look good on the end, at the output. But either way,
hard, man.
Yeah. We'll get that finished. But we do have some shout-outs to take care of for the wonderful people at Patreon.com/XB2. Question and answer thread is up. If you guys want to go over there and drop some questions, we'll get to the end of the show. We have Xbox Dave, Just James 93, J Peltier Thurgus, Christian the Password, Book and Beard, Holy Dark Death, Steve Stompy, James Wiseau, Trickster for Trade, The Grandest of Bit, Battered Haddock, Army Dude 52C, Ryan Kipple, Foreign Object, Mythic Marty, Moronic Donkey 99, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, James Moore, Fantasticals, Halo is the GOAT, K-Trox, Bright Tundra 1, Discarded Caboose, Justin Duel, Frank Mariano, PB Broking, Ace of T and Madison, Governor Grimm, DZ Huffin, Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Tropey, Prof. JJJ, Ghostface Killer, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast.
There's some new face in the podcast.
Yeah,
in the Patreon, sorry.
I believe you're on vacation next week. Is this correct?
I am indeed. I am going to Greece.
Going to Greece. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Greece.
What are you? Are you going by yourself? For work? Girlfriend?
My girlfriend's birthday.
Ah,
we're going to Greece.
Okay. Is this where you're gonna pop the question on her birthday in Greece? You know what I'm saying?
I'll pop the question when you get on camera.
Oh Jesus! Well, I can be on. You sure you want that to happen?
Well, hey, I mean, you know, if we're throwing pressure around, we might as well all have a bit of pressure, you know.
Hey, I'm not the one. How long you been dating your girlfriend now? How long?
11 years.
11 years, and you still haven't put the ring on it,
dude. I tell you, right? It's because we're both super introverted, and none of us. We don't want to. We don't want to be the center of attention and also we're both from different countries and getting our family to like logistics is crazy, but you know, it's one of them. It's a weird one, but yeah, I mean, it's slightly easier for you to get on camera than it is for me to organize a cross-country wedding, right? No, I don't know, but yeah, going to Greece, but it shouldn't disrupt the podcast because I think I will be back. I'm coming back on Friday, so I think I'll be back in time for the podcast. So I'll get straight back from Greece, probably sunburnt to hell. My pasty ass doesn't do that well in sunlight in general, let alone in Greece. And then we'll go straight into the podcast. So I don't think I'll miss a show, but the next Xbox 2+1. Which we have a guest for lined up, by the way. A really awesome guest too. I'm actually really looking forward to doing a show with him because I don't think I've ever been on a podcast with him before. But yeah, we've got a guest lined up for next Xbox 2+1, and that'll be the week after. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else can hear this, but there's a little bit of like interference behind you a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I have my earbuds in and I can sort of hear some slight interference. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know if anybody. I haven't seen anybody say anything in chat, so maybe I'm the only one that can hear it. But
my mic has been playing up, so yeah, we'll just have to persevere.
Right. Anyways, so even though Jess Corden's not getting married anytime soon, 10 years with his girlfriend. Anything else been happening in outside of you literally setting the world on fire yesterday, Xbox wise? You know how many DMs I got about you? Do you know how many people came to me? You know how many people came to me asking for clarification and like insight on your state of mind and what was going on? Like, you know, like what's he doing? What does he mean? What does he mean? What's going on? And I'm just like, bro, I'm playing a game or I'm reading a book.
My DMs are open. My DMs are open. People come and ask me. I spoke to people. You know, I got DMs too, and I was like, yeah, this is the situation. Now the person who this all started because I was having a private conversation on the Xbox 2 Discord with Hasbro Gaming and a bunch of other people who, you know, in a special thread dedicated to the multi-platform discourse, right? And I shared my opinion that I do believe eventually, I don't know when or how long, everything will come across and everything will go multi-platform. You know, for that for the matter of fact, I think everything will be multi-platform. I think you see Sony doing day and date on PC, and maybe even Nintendo breaks the seal. You never know. It's weird times, right? And in the era of black hole games and trying to compete with Fortnite, you kind of have to be where Fortnite is if you want to compete with them. And that's true for like, games that sort of sit within the same genre in terms of service games and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it was a back and forth between friends. And someone shared it on Resetera, bullet pointed out. I never really mentioned that it was just my opinion, and they took it as a sort of a leak or a report or something like that. And then, and then it blew up, and the person reached out to me and they were like, look, I'm sorry. English isn't their first language, so I kind of missed some of the nuance and, and all that kind of stuff. And it just blew up into this whole thing where everyone got upset and pissed at me. And it's just like, that's just like my opinion, dude. It wasn't a report, and it could very well be wrong. I do think Microsoft's paying a lot of attention to the ongoing backlash, and I think like they probably are playing this very long wait and see game, because if they do get in a situation where console users start going down because of these rumors and all this stuff, I think they might change tactic maybe. But if they see they've always said it's an experiment, right? If the experiment gives them the green light to go all out because it won't hurt console sales. No, well, not console sales. We all know console sales are hurt. But I mean, it won't hurt active monthly users. That's what they really care about. If it doesn't hurt monthly active users, then they'll go ahead with it and they'll do everything. And personally, I don't think it will hurt monthly active users. So I think they will do it. But yeah, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, bro. And yeah. The internet went crazy, and then websites were covering it. No one asked me anything about it. No one asked me for clarification. In fact, the only two people that did ask me for clarification, well, there were three people. They were all YouTubers. One was Destin, one was Spawnwave, and one was a Nintendo channel whose name escapes me at the moment. They were all nice enough to ask. But none of the websites asked me. None of the game journals asked me. But whatever.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's kind of crazy. Only like three people literally asked you to, hey, can we get more context out of this? Everybody else just ran with it, huh?
Yeah, and it was just some bullet points that someone dropped onto Resetera. And without real context. But it is what it is, and it was buried away in a thread on my Discord, and I was never thinking like, oh, this is just going to be everywhere on the internet tomorrow. But hey, even in private conversations, I suppose I need to be a little bit more clear. Like, this is my opinion in big caps letters.
Yeah, because you always say podcast is for opinions and speculation and other things, and if it's a fact or as close to it as you can get to, then it's an article on Windows Central, right?
Yeah. If I had like hard evidence that Microsoft was going to do day and date everything to PlayStation, you can bet your ass that'd be an article on Windows Central. But I don't have that confirmation, But I do think the trend is going in that direction. But like I said last week, I'm sick. I'm sick of the discussion, man. I'm sick of it. I just kind of think it is what it is.
Well, you are now branded as traitor to the brand now, though.
Yeah, apparently. I mean,
the double agent of chaos.
Double agent of chaos. But it's like, why bury your head in the sand and pretend this isn't happening? I don't think anyone seriously thinks they're going to stop at 4 games. Does anyone seriously think they're going to stop at 4 games? I believe right now it is only 4 games, and I've said that before. And that's based on information that I've been told by good sources, that right now it is only these 4 games, pending the outcomes of the experiment. But I think they'll decide that it's worth it. That's just what I believe.
Interesting.
And they'll do more.
Interesting. Well, we do have a lot to talk about. Showcase stuff, because it is the month leading up to it, and Xbox did announce finally the showcase and a lot of other things, as well as a redacted direct. That was kind of a surprise. I'm not sure people expected there to be another direct. But they're holding their cards close to their vest. Of course, everybody knows what it is. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that is going on here. Starfield, back in the news. Todd Howard out there doing an interview, which I guess we also should mention, because I know Paris is sometimes here, and the wonderful and incredible Snowbike Mike. Kind of funny Xcast is no more, Jez.
It is.
Kind of funny did like a programming reboot sort of thing. And one of my favorite Xbox personalities, Snowbike Mike and Paris, and the show that they did together with Gary Whitta for a couple. How many years has it been now? It seems like it's been a few years at least. It's been
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's been. We were guests on it. I think I've been on it twice, and I think you've been on it twice, or maybe at least once.
Yeah, I've been on it twice. I think. Yeah, off the top of my head.
And they closed no more Kind of Funny Xcast, which is a shame because love to always see Mike and Paris talk about Xbox. So got to give a shout out to those guys.
But they are continuing to podcast over there as part of Kind of Funny Gamescast. So basically, they went Xbox exclusive, and now they've got multi-platform.
Jeez. Well, they also canceled their PlayStation show too. So I think it was just like
PlayStation's went multi-platform as well. Damn.
Yeah, oh, damn. Everything's just part of Kind of Funny Gamescast now, and
break the walls down.
Yeah.
As Triple H once said. Well, who was it? Was it Motorhead who did their music? No, it wasn't Motorhead originally. I don't know. DX.
DX.
I don't know. I've gone off on a tangent about wrestling again.
Yeah.
We've started talking about wrestling on every show now.
Nah, just briefly mentioning it. I really, they got a live show in France. It's too bad you're not vacationing in France. You could go to the show there. But you should probably go to the Bash at Berlin, or the Berlin show when it comes there in August.
Yeah, and see Gunther.
Yeah,
Gunther.
The Ring General.
The Ring General. My Gembox 360 on Windows Central on Twitter, she just went to a WWE live show in England.
Oh, so that's very nice. That's cool. Yeah, because they're doing the UK tour. So
they're all over the place at the moment.
They are. Awesome. They definitely are all over the place. So what do we want to talk about? I know we got some super chats to get to, and we will. I am playing the gameplay for Tales of Kanzara, which we talked about last week. Metroidvania. I think it was Studio's first game. $19.99. I think it's worth playing if you like Metroidvanias. So enjoy the gameplay of that. Although I have been playing something new this week, Jez. I did start a new game, and it's been the topic of conversation on the internet for the wrong reasons, I guess you would say. I don't really see a lot of people outside of like Erica and maybe a couple others talking about the gameplay. It's mostly centered around the censorship. And if not the censorship, then like the body proportions of the main character, and that is Stellar Blade, which released on PlayStation 5 last Friday. And it is a game that I was, it was on my interest radar, and I started hearing that it had more kind of to do with Sekiro than really like other Souls games. So that kind of really interested me. So I was like, you know what? Let me check this game out.
Is it a Souls game?
Well, it has hallmarks of a Souls game, but
I thought it was more like a hack and slash.
It is like more of a hack and slash, say like Nier Automata, but it definitely has hallmarks of a Souls game. Essentially you can save at certain spots like a bonfire, and at that bonfire you can that it replenishes your health items that you can use. It also is a place where you can like upgrade your character and stuff like that. And any of the enemies that you had killed, well, if you do decide to rest at the camp, well, they're now respawned, right? So it has those earmarks, but there really doesn't seem to be any downside to dying. It's not like if you die, you lose all your XP and progress and stuff and you need to go back and grab it. So it's definitely a little bit more forgiving in that aspect. So it's much more of a hack and slash. But obviously, a lot of the discourse around in the game is based around the culture war that the all that stuff has kind of brought upon, which I'm not going to talk about because I think it's all stupid. I want to talk about the game, and I find the game to be a lot of fun. And dare I use the word thrilling in a way, because you know when I talk about mechanics in games that I can't stand, right? I mean, I'm sure we've mentioned this before. You know exactly which ones I'm talking about, right, Jez? Which mechanics in games I just cannot stand?
Survival game stuff.
Yeah, like survival stuff, crafting
drinking.
Stuff, like those sort of things.
You hate Fallout 76.
Are stuff that I don't care for, that they don't, it doesn't do anything for me. However, there is a mechanic in action games that really get my juices flowing, and that is parrying. Ooh. Which this game is very, very much front and center, being like, you need to parry these attacks to kind of get through. And maybe in other games like Sekiro had a lot of parrying, but you could sort of kind of get around it, although it wouldn't have been that easy. This game kind of seems built around the idea of performing these late second blocks or late second or last second, I guess, dodges, right? And because of that, it makes the gameplay and especially the boss fights a lot of fun and engaging, because I just love the actual mechanics of parrying. There's something so satisfying about parrying a set of attacks right at the last second. Like, you press the input
perfectly,
right in that perfect pixel window where you're parrying the attacks, and then you go on to the offensive. So this game's all about being on the attack. You're attacking your enemies. You're using your special abilities that charge up when you attack, and that when you parry, and the enemies attack, and you're parrying their stuff, right? I know sometimes a lot of these games you can kind of dodge out of the way, do a lot of stuff. There is a dodge in this game, but it's a little bit more... You're not going to be dodging constantly out of the stuff. This game wants you to become like really good at parrying. So that is just something that, like, when I get into a fight, I'm going balls to the wall, and then their enemies attack, and I'm hitting that left bumper L1 on the PlayStation controller to parry their stuff. And then it has that sort of same thing that Sekiro did, where if you break their stance or posture, I forget what they call it in this game, if you do it enough times, you can basically do like almost an instant kill. Like you do a special attack that takes off a certain amount of health. So it's like you're always on the offensive. And maybe that's one of the reasons I love Sekiro so much, that I find it to be a lot within this game. And like, so the gameplay is the stuff that is very much I'm a fan of. Like, I love going around. I love getting into the fights. The boss fights have been pretty damn good so far. It's really enjoyable for me. I like the sci-fi setting. Really cool. Story basically is just a whole bunch of nonsense gobbledygook. Just gobbledygook.
I was gonna ask about the story. What is the premise of the
I don't even really know, dude. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Really? It's whatever. I don't know. Like, it's just,
Oh, okay.
It's just whatever.
Bunch of gobbledygook.
Just a bunch of gobbledygook, okay. Which is fine, because you're a bunch of gobbledygook to go beat some enemies. And the first couple levels, or the first level, was this really long linear-esque level. Trying to get used to the mechanics of the game. It introduces you to stuff slowly. And then I'm at this part now. I'm in this area called the Wasteland. And it's this huge level that is just like completely open. You got a map and stuff. And as I'm going through it, as I tend to do in these open world type games, I'm like trying to search every nook and cranny. There's enemies everywhere. Sometimes you get in fights and you're not really at your best, and you miss some blocks and they hurt you, and you know, like right now I think I have 4 healing flasks. I'm not even sure what tumblers I think they call them in this game. You start with 3, but I found 3 ones to upgrade it to 4, so now I have 4 healing tumblers and, you know, that sort of stuff. So, and then there's a bunch of, like, camps scattered around. I'm not really liking the open world aspect of this particular map in itself. I was really more enjoying the linear experience that the first level and the second level had, really, because you got to this, like, second level where it was like a city where you talk to some people and they would have, like, here's some side quests and here's some bulletin board stuff. The bulletin board stuff is basically like it's basically like fetch missions. They like, hey, go here, do this, find a cat or find my husband, and you go somewhere, find him. At least has some quality of life stuff where you could, once you complete that, you can basically teleport right back to the bulletin board. But I mean, it's all about giving you, like, gold and maybe some of the currency to buy the outfits. The side quests a little bit more in detail, like they have cutscenes that go along with them, and there's more of a story they're trying to tell. But not all the levels are, like, open like this. It does get back to the linear stuff. So I am enjoying my time with it for sure, because I do find the gameplay engaging, because I'm a fan of the parrying mechanic and the dodging and the last second stuff. It really gets my blood pumping, dude. Like, seriously, you get into these fights, and, like, the first few boss fights have been outstanding, I thought. Not nearly as hard as any of, like, the Souls games I played. I think I beat 2 of them on my first try. But a lot of fun in the sense that you're attacking, and then like, this huge thing just jumps up in the air. There's just something really cool about, like, all right, enemy's up in the air and he's about to attack you, and then you hit it right. Not only do you, like, deflect damage and parry him, then you continue your attack. That is just, like, a mechanic that I just love. I can't express how much more, like, I love, like, the parrying games. I wish all games had them.
Sounds really good. Sounds really good. I mean,
well, yeah, it
kind of sounds a bit like. You played Metal Gear Rising, right?
Yes, Metal Gear Rising.
Metal Gear Rising got some
great.
Yeah, Metal Gear Rising, like, had some great parry mechanics, I think.
Yeah. No, the game's a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes for the rest. I mean, I'm only.
Is it coming to PC?
I mean, I would assume so. I'm only 12 hours in. I know the game is probably 25 hours. I mean, I'm trying to do as much as I can. So it'd probably be like a 30-hour game for me.
Right.
You know, a lot of different types of enemies. I'm in this wasteland, and I just went to this area where there's, like, now there's these androids that have a cape and, like, a staff. It's like General Grievous from Star Wars, right?
All right.
And these, like, turret enemies or whatever that, like, they're just, like, walking turrets that, like, see you and they start, like, shooting at you and stuff. So yeah, but obviously for a lot of people this game's all just about dress up with Eve, right? It really is, like,
plain dress up.
You have dress up with Eve because you got the different outfits that you can equip it in. You can unlock, like, different hairstyles and earrings and stuff. And yeah, I remember I think I was in a party with Colt. I was playing it for a little bit, and he's like, "Isn't this a game that people just play dress up with the Eve?" And it's like, yeah, I guess. And because there's like 40 costumes. There's, like, different currency because it's not enough just to get a costume. You have to then craft a costume, right? Because it's not just that simple. It's like, oh, I found this costume, I want it. No, you got to make sure you have the material to craft it. And where do you get the material to craft it? Well, by killing enemies or finding crates out in the open world that have the material for you to craft. So, but yeah, at its core, it's a hack and slash, and I think it's quite enjoyable so far.
Sounds really good.
I felt a lot better about it when I started than I do right now, though, because I'm not enjoying this open world aspect of the Wasteland. Because it's just kind of the color scheme of it. You know, it's kind of just open and barren. There's just a ton of enemies walking around. It's just, I don't know. Like, I'm not enjoying that aspect. Like, when it was linear, I was very much more into it. So hopefully I can get through this part, get to the more linear aspects, get more of the boss fights in, see how I feel next week. Hopefully I can have the game done by next week. But Yeah, it's a shame that this game, there's always these sort of games that come out and it's more about like the discourse surrounding it than it is about the game itself. And this is definitely one of those things.
The game itself gets buried beneath the game itself
gets buried. I mean, Eve as a character is not actually half bad too. She's soft spoken. Because I was thinking of like, okay, so you have like Eve, you have Lily, you have this guy Adam. And Adam's voiceover is awful. It's so awful, it makes me think it's like AI almost. Like they just hired an AI guy. Like it's bad. But like Eve's voice acting is strangely, I think pretty good and fits the character. So she's got like a British accent, which I thought was weird. She's like more posh, but she's very like soft spoken. And there's like personality there that's like hidden underneath everything. Whereas like Adam is, he's the guy that's with you, and then he pilots the drone because you have a drone that comes around with you that you can press the oh god, what is the thing called on the PlayStation controller? The pad or whatever.
Touch bar?
The touchpad at the top, and it'll like scan everything around you, highlight enemies and highlight collectibles and all that sort of stuff, and then eventually it like turns into a gun because then you get like a gun, right? You hold left trigger and the drone becomes a gun. But like his dialogue is so stilted, and it's just like, is this a real person doing this dialogue? Is this the thing? Is this what they told him to do? Just be robotic, while like the robot itself is more like kind of has more of a personality. And then like Lily's the human that you meet, right? And she's all what?
It's their first game, right?
I believe it is. Their first game.
So like you have to assume then that they probably prioritized getting a good voice actor for the main character, right?
Yeah, and I sort of wonder if like the money they got from Sony to like flesh out the game went more into like creating the bigger open world levels, or
I thought you were going to say something else.
Like the some of like the
assets,
the bulletin board stuff. Because I don't know, I don't think the Wasteland, like the design here in the open world is sort of appealing very much. I kind of, even though I am, because this is how I play my open world games. I try to find everything. I scour each corner of the map before moving on. I sort of feel like maybe, I don't know, this game almost seems built for a linear game, rather than like, here's this huge world with the map and go to it. I don't know. I feel
padded it out a bit.
Yeah, if maybe that's because, okay, we're going to be selling it for this much and people expect a certain level from us, but yeah, I mean, those are my initial thoughts on Stellar Blade. I think it's got some great combat, some cool strings. I'm enjoying the pairing. The boss fights have been pretty damn good. It looks great. And I'm excited to, get back on it tonight and explore some more until I can get to the next linear section, because I'm not a fan of the open world aspect. But man, it plays really good, and I really do enjoy parrying, so much so. Hopefully there's like, I don't think there'll be parrying in Hellblade. I wish if there was, though, that'd be great. Oh my god, that'd be absolutely wonderful.
It was parrying in the original, wasn't there?
There was blocking.
I'm pretty sure
you could sort of yeah, I guess there was, but I think there was more like, I don't know if I'd call that a parrying, but yes, there was like a perfect timing sort of thing you could do with that. But maybe that'll come back. So that's been my 12 hours of Stellar Blade stuff. But yeah, have you been playing anything? Most of your Overwatch and your World of Warcraft stuff?
I ain't touched Overwatch because I only have so much bandwidth for my service games. I like my service games. I've been addicted to Fallout 76 again. I've been pretty much non-stop playing Fallout 76 and loving it, frankly. Been playing with the Xbox 2 community. Really great dudes in the Xbox 2 community Discord have been helping me out. Trent Super especially deserves a big shout out. Been helping me, and then other people in the community have come back to the game or playing it for the first time even. But yeah, Fallout 76 is a completely different game. It's got, full-blown NPC stories now. It's got full-blown choice and, consequences, and, You can side with the raiders or side with the settlers. It's great. I'm really, really enjoying them. And the builds you can do are super deep, crazy deep. So it's a very it's a much meatier game than it was when it came out. So I'm loving it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. Other than that, I've been working my ass off. It's going to be a busy time. We're coming up to showcase season, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But showcase season, also studio visit. I've got loads of studio visits coming up. During the pandemic, I was actually wondering, like, maybe studio visits were just going to be a thing of the past and everything would be remote now, because you'd think, well, if they can just do, stream the preview builds over the cloud, then it's cheaper for them, right? Potentially, but nope, we're back on studio visits, are back on the menu, and I've been invited all over the place. So I'm going to Poland soon.
Ooh, I wonder what's in Poland.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say, but yeah, I'm going to Poland. I'm also going to Los Angeles, of course, for the Xbox stuff.
The City of Angels.
Los Angeles, yeah. And a bunch of other stuff, yeah. So all good. Lots of cool stuff in the pipeline.
Excellent. Hellblade 2 is coming out this month.
Yeah, May 21st.
Yeah, the hype's starting, the marketing's starting. I don't know if you saw this, but
Aaron Greenberg.
Yeah, let me get what Aaron Greenberg said here most recently. He said, had a great review with the team, leading our big global and regional marketing plans to support Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. It all starts next week as we optimize leading up to launch and beyond. So many fun creative plans, to name a few. Checkmark. Global paid media command. Dun dun dun. Checkmark. Cinema launch program. Checkmark. Out of home advertising. I don't know what that means. Checkmark. Brand partnerships. Checkmark.
Out of home advertising's billboards, right?
I don't know what that means. Special activation from Ireland or Iceland, not Ireland. I don't know. I have no idea what out of home advertising is. I mean, it has an emoji of a cityscape, of like a skyline.
Yeah,
so maybe that means like billboards, stuff like that. Man, people were saying Xbox doesn't do those sort of things, but yeah, I mean they did with Starfield. Maybe not so much Forza or Redfall, which, by the way, we'll talk about that in a minute. So yes, the marketing is going to kick up into high gear. I personally can't wait to get my hands on the game. What does it come out the 21st? But yeah,
there was a smidge of controversy with Hellblade 2 today. I don't know if you noticed.
Well, what was it? What was the controversy?
They announced only a smidge, and some people are upset about it. Some others don't really care. But
the PC, PC stuff.
Yeah, well, they announced the PC specs for the game.
Right.
PC specs for the game are actually quite good, I think. Like, it'll run all right on lower end systems and stuff like that, to some degree at least.
Okay.
But some of the controversy is the fact that it's gonna have film bars on. Yeah, it's gonna have film bars on widescreen TVs because it is in the full-blown cinema aspect ratio, which I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. Panavision ultra wide. So the native aspect ratio of the game is ultra wide, and it doesn't sound like you're going to be able to turn off the film bars or adjust the aspect ratio. How do you feel? How do you feel about that, Rand? Because you're the Hellblade aficionado, and I presume you don't have an ultra wide, even though you are the man with the million and probably have a home cinema secretly somewhere in your house.
I don't have an ultra wide. So if you have an ultra wide, what would it be then? Would it just be?
If you had an ultra wide, it wouldn't have film bars. It'd be the native resolution. But if you got a widescreen, you're gonna get film bars because it's narrow. It's a narrow display.
So if you have a regular 16:9,
you're gonna get film bars. Yeah, that's 16:9 is widescreen.
Interesting. I believe didn't they? I want to say the Order 1886 did that. Back on the PS4.
There is a few games that have done that. The Evil Within is notoriously one of them. The Evil Within had film bars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they said at the time it was for performance reasons.
Okay.
they patched it out. They patched it out eventually and let you get rid of the film bars in the Evil Within after a few updates. So yeah, that has been games that have done this before, but I don't know. How's chat reacting to it? How do you? It does personally. It's a cinematic game, and I think it could work really well for it. I suppose we have to see like how it actually plays in that aspect ratio, but it is not something you see very often.
I mean, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that. I would, yeah, I would rather not it have film bars, even if it is like I know they're going for the whole cinematic aspect of it, but I would prefer it not to have it. It is probably perfect for it, but
it's the if there was one game that could get away with it, it would probably be this one.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be like it'll look weird when you first start playing it, and then like all right, it'll be fine once you get like an hour or two into it, you know.
And to be completely fair, I haven't got. I don't think they've fully confirmed that you won't be able to turn it off. So maybe you will.
I also wonder if there's.
But I don't think so. I think I've just got a feeling you won't be able to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
doesn't really bother me personally. Though.
I guess. Yeah. What is the resolution on that game then, or the aspect ratio on it?
It's 21:9.
21:9. Okay.
I think that's what the exact. I think that's the aspect ratio of Panavision is 21:9 off the top of my head. There's if you go on, I wrote an article about it this afternoon.
You know what? Here's the thing. Watch a couple outlets take issue with that and lower rate it. Be like, we couldn't properly enjoy this game at the aspect ratio it was presented, or whatever.
Or it made me seasick.
Yeah,
Sea of Thieves criticism. Oh man, I don't know. I think there there's one game that this could work for. It's this one. I would have thought. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes. So there is that. Can't wait for Hellblade 2. Also, it is did you celebrate yesterday for the 1-year anniversary of Redfall?
Yes, my whole house, we are a Redfall celebration.
We are Redfall celebration place of employment. Indeed. Now, obviously the game's not talked about very much for reasons, but you know, though the promised 2 extra characters that they were included in the $100 edition, the Bite Back edition, it's been a year. Where them characters at, bro? Like, what's good? You know what I mean? I saw Kotaku wrote an article about it, and they interviewed some people still playing the game, and I think one of the quotes is like, I don't want to get made fun of for playing Redfall or something like that. Like, but yeah, they still haven't delivered on that promise, and it makes you sort of wonder if they ever will. You know, if Arcane Austin just hasn't moved on to something else, or what's going on. You thought maybe, all right, for the 1-year anniversary, here's the 2 characters, have fun, but nothing. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and get clarification on that. I mean, it is kind of messed up if you sell something and don't deliver, but I mean, it's also weird, like, to invest in a game that's pretty much dead and will never not be dead.
Well, I mean, you did sell a $100 version, so
yeah, you have to kind of make good on that, or give people refunds.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be hard to give people refunds for like the physical versions, right? If anybody bought physical, so I don't know. I can't imagine that game showing up at the showcase and being like, "Here's the update for Redfall." But yeah, Redfall, the anniversary was a year ago. Do you remember when that game came out and got all those horrible reviews? Did you review it for Windows Central or somebody else?
I completed it.
Ooh, jeez.
One of
the 10 games you completed in the last couple of years, huh?
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the game. I think I gave it 7, I want to say, off the top of my head. I think it was kind of like, it was just clear that this was not their forte, I would say. And every now and then there was like this sort of almost like a shadow of Arcane in there, hidden amongst the empty void, you know. But it was clear that they were a little bit, you know, out of their depth. But I quite enjoyed the characters and the plot direction to some degree. But the whole service game aspect, or the multiplayer aspect, and the loot and all that stuff was so shallow, underbaked, and terrible. Kind of like Suicide Squad syndrome, I guess, to some degree. Which, by the way, is still not dead. I mean, nobody's playing it, but it's. Was that this week? Did we talk about that last week?
No, we didn't talk about it. I think I had it in the notes, but we didn't talk about it. But it was like, yeah, nobody's really playing Suicide Squad, really. So, do they actually make it through their year plans of DLC before they just pull the plug on that game? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, they did after. There was a bunch of outlets that wrote. Actually, I think we might have started actually. So sorry about that, Warner Brothers. But there was like a wave of coverage about the fact that there was more people playing Marvel's Avengers than Suicide Squad, even though Marvel's Avengers is officially in shutdown mode.
Yeah,
it's officially dead. But there was more people playing that on Steam than Suicide Squad, which begs the question, like, it doesn't really look good for the game's future, right? But after that day, they did come out and announce a huge amount of changes to the game, a reduction in the grind, and sort of like, it was almost like a sort of, you know, a reaction to all the feedback the game's been, you know, negative feedback, I guess, the game's been receiving about all the kind of things that are wrong with it. I'm not well versed with it because I haven't really researched it, because honestly I just don't care about the game at all. But for those who are interested in it and are actively playing it, you know, hopefully finds some kind of quality bar eventually, but we'll see. I mean, I always remember about how much of a pariah Fallout 76 was at launch, and I was one of the few people defending the game when it launched. I wrote an article. I think I reviewed Fallout 76 as well, and I think I did give it 6 out of 10 because it was so broken at launch, like buggy, crashy, and systems not working, all that kind of stuff. Like, you can't have a service game that has this kind of lack of, you know, basic stuff in it. But I kind of felt like there was something underneath all that mess that I kind of felt like could be mined out of it. And lo and behold, several years later, here we are with Fallout 76
several years later, 6 years later. 6 years later and a hit TV show to boot. People are finally discovering what's good about Fallout 76.
Yeah, and they're about to drop a large map expansion to the game. A large map expansion, which is huge, and it's the first actual map expansion. They've had like expeditions and like little like dungeons and events they've added to the game, and also quest lines, NPCs, and all that stuff, like Wastelanders or whatever. Atlantic City was an expedition, and the Pit was an expedition, and so on and so forth. But this is the first time they've actually expanded the base map of the game, and the people on the public test server are really, really hyped for it and making it sound amazing. So, can Suicide Squad enjoy that kind of renaissance?
No.
I got a feeling so. No.
Suicide Squad ain't going to have a TV show or a movie. They've already done 2 movies for it, and they both kind of flopped. It's not going to have a TV show to reignite the passion and get the player base like Fallout did. It was kind of just like kind of crazy how it happened for Fallout. You have this TV show that kind of bridges all the demographics, and it's like appeals to the gamers who know the Fallout lore, but then also appeals to all these people who never played Fallout right? Yeah. Get those people into stuff, and then they had a really good idea of putting all the Fallout games on sale, so you could go there on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam, get Fallout 4 for $5, or get Fallout 76 for a couple dollars. But I think you would think like Fallout 76 is on Game Pass, so you could really kind of step into the games for cheap, and people are like, oh man, this is good, right? They have the update for Fallout 4, which is
broken.
Broken in some ways, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. But
it's broken if you've got a lot of mods, and it's unclear if the performance modes are working properly on Xbox. But
I mean, they say it is, but
the stuff they added, I don't know. The stuff they added to it seems pretty cool. They added some mini quests, and some of them actually have pretty compelling lore aspects to them, and also some new weapons and new armor and stuff like that. So they did add a bunch of interesting stuff to the update, and hopefully, like, people who've got like running a lot of mods have had a lot of problems with it, but maybe those mods can get updated. It's funny because like World of Warcraft like gets updated all the time, and then oftentimes all your mods get broken, but then there's like apps where it's like it'll update all your mods for you for that build and stuff. I have to like run this tool to update all my mods every single time that WoW gets updated. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. But Fallout is enjoying this massive resurgence, and it feels a bit to me like the Suicide Squad is just a cursed franchise.
Well, yeah,
a bit.
So, yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. And even with Fallout, you're reporting. We'll talk about like what else was said about Todd Howard and stuff, but you're reporting about them because I think you said on last week's Xbox 2 that Microsoft was kind of looking into getting another Fallout game up off the ground, essentially within like the next 6 years or more quickly, because they know that Bethesda's got Elder Scrolls and then Fallout's just going to be a bit, and it doesn't sound like Obsidian wants to do it, but you had posted that Microsoft's looking at different ways, and then I think Todd Howard said that they're open to partnering with other studios to get a Fallout game or Fallout games out there. So yeah, there you go. People that call you say that you don't know what you're talking about sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like literally like confirmed a couple days later.
Literally days later, they pretty much said what I heard. And it was stemming from, I guess, internal discussions about it and all that kind of stuff. Microsoft's having to do a lot of these sort of semi-public presentations now because the company's become so big, right? So like it's not really an intimate really thing where they can just get on a little Teams call and talk to each team here and there. They sort of have to do these big all hands meetings where like they literally do a presentation like a live stream to loads of people. It's like it's a different way that to do things for Microsoft. But for Microsoft, well, Xbox gaming, because I kind of feel like up until now, Xbox has kind of been run like a well-funded startup, kind of intimate, doing their own thing, kind of ignored by Microsoft. But now they're sort of, and again, this is just my opinion, so don't run it as a report. But I have to say that now before I say fucking anything. But I kind of feel like since ABK, they've kind of had to become a bit more serious and corporate, There's that whole sort of meme of Microsoft didn't buy ABK, ABK bought Xbox, or ABK's absorbed Xbox. And I think there's some truth to that, When you've overnight become like the biggest publisher in the world, in the West. I think like there's literally only Tencent now. And Microsoft has its sights on taking over Tencent. I mean, we talked about this years ago, Rand. Do you remember? Do you remember us talking about how Microsoft wants to go after Tencent, and it's never been about Sony. It's always been about Tencent. It's always been about Tencent, and here we are. They are firmly on Tencent's back foot. Tencent, of course, being the publisher of League of Legends and Valorant, but also they own 49% of Fortnite and Epic Games, you know. And obviously Tencent and Microsoft are pretty friendly with each other, ironically. Tencent has a deal with Microsoft for League of Legends on Game Pass. And also, obviously, Microsoft uses Unreal Engine constantly, of which Tencent's a large investor in. So it's kind of like friendly competition to some degree, I guess. But that's the direction they're going in now. But hey, it's all fun and games. All fun and video games.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to some of the super chat questions here. We have a bunch of them. See where this takes us. We got Josh with the $9.99. Rand, 2 questions. 1, do you think there's any chance of a Resident Evil 9 reveal at the Xbox show? So this comes because Dusk Golem, Capcom Insider, basically sort of said Resident Evil 9 was delayed and then kind of went back and said, actually, no, good news, it's not. And not only is it getting revealed soon, but it should be launching January of next year. So January 2025. So it had been 4 years from Resident Evil 8. He says this game's been in development for something close to 7 years in his tweet, which is a long time. And I don't know what team's developing it, if it's been in development for 7 years. But if it is being revealed soon, I would say it is more than likely going to be revealed at Sony's show, which Jeff Grubb and others have been saying it's happening sometime in May. Sony typically does a show sometime, usually around the May-June timeframe. And most of the other Resident Evil games have been revealed at PlayStation shows, from Resident Evil 4 to Resident Evil Biohazard. Pretty much like that's where Capcom goes to reveal their stuff. So I would imagine if it's going to be revealed soon, that's where it's going to be revealed at the PlayStation show.
Yeah.
There were rumors that Resident Evil 9 was going to be open world, which is not... It's like, I don't know if I want that. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that like Resident Evil 8 was kind of trending that way.
Was it though?
But it was maybe like more wide linear than open world. I don't know.
Unless
because right now I'm playing Stellar Blade and I'm in the open world aspect of the game, and I'm just imagining instead of these enemies around, it's like zombies, and I'm like, I'm not sure I would want that. You know?
It's. Yeah, I mean, it could be terrible, but there are open world games that are really good. So
no, I'm not saying they're
maybe that's.
I just don't know about the idea of an open world, like a true open world. You know, when I hear open world, like I'm like, oh, this stuff's gonna be like a Far Cry, right? It's gonna be basically Far Cry, but with zombies, and it's just like I don't know if I want that. I kind of enjoy Resident Evil for what it does, what it already is. But then again, you know, maybe they have an idea, and it's like, well, here you just need to experience it, and then it is open world, and then you love it. So we'll have to see. But
what if it's got parry mechanics?
Oh, well, I mean, Resident Evil 4 had kind of parry mechanics, you know, with the knife.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like, kind of a little bit there. You couldn't always use it.
Crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't always use it, but it was fun to use when you had it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes says, do you think you'll get back to making videos again soon? Missed your content. Have a great weekend, guys. Yeah, I think I will. I was telling Jez I was thinking about it, and so we'll see. Maybe be on the lookout for Monday. Space Dovakin, member for 36 months. Man, Jez, you really stirred the pot this week. Put everyone on their feelings. Happy Friday, guys. Thank you. Jez is known.
I really didn't want to, you know.
Dude, how did it feel being like the Twitter person of the day, where everything was focused around you, having articles written about you?
That happens too often. It's really weird because people were saying things like, "Oh, Jez just does it for clicks," and I'm just like, "What? I have a private conversation on Discord."
He's like, "Oh, he's just doing it for clicks and engagement." It's like a conversation on Discord.
Conversation on Discord. I had no idea it was going to be shared. I did that for clicks. It's like you start to realize that some people just want to hate you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So and they will take anything they can. So I've got to a point where it just doesn't affect me or bother me at all. Because they will hate you no matter what. If I have a private conversation and someone shares it out of context, they won't check. They won't see if there's any context. They'll just immediately go straight to hate mode. And there's nothing you can do about it, There's nothing you can do about it. And it is what it is, It is what it is, baby. And I'm fine with it.
Yeah. We got Sith Lord, member for 15 months. May the 4th be with you tomorrow, and Revenge of the 5th, go see Phantom Menace 25th anniversary back in theaters. Absolutely not. I know there's a lot of looking back at Phantom Menace and the prequels with these loving glasses now, where people are like, hey, they weren't that bad. They're actually fun. No, the prequels are piles of steaming shit and will forever be piles of steaming shit. I hate the fact that now people are like, oh man, like the prequels were great. You just didn't understand it. No, the prequels were awful back then, and they're awful now. I remember
what prequels are we talking about?
Star Wars. Nah, there's this movement to sort of like change how people view the prequels now.
Dude, the prequels were good.
No, they were not. They were god awful.
They were good, dude.
They were god awful.
No, you're just in that boomer generation.
Nuh-uh.
That's the problem. See, for me, the prequels were my first Star Wars movie.
Jesus, here we go. My first Star Wars experience, so it's good to me. You like trash,
yeah, it was.
You like trash.
I was like, dude, I remember being a kid in the cinema watching Phantom Menace.
Yeah, you're a kid. Go watch that stuff now.
So fucking cool. I do. I've seen Phantom Menace about a million
Phantom Menace,
times.
I couldn't believe it. I remember going there at midnight, waiting in line. Everybody's all excited. Everybody's got their their lightsabers. Some people are in like their Jedi cloaks. Everyone's so excited. Dude, when that movie ended, people were shell-shocked and just like walking out being like,
about how good it was?
Was that movie awful, or is it just me? Like, no, dude, that movie was awful good, because I wasn't too sure, because I was like, wait a minute, this sucks.
That's not true.
They suck. They suck.
Dude, when I went to see Phantom Menace, I think I was like 10 or 11. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. They were super hyped. All the kids were cheering. Everyone loved Darth Maul.
Sure, people like Darth Maul. Did you like Jar Jar Binks?
Duel of the Fates?
Duel of Fates Duel of Fates is hype.
Even as a kid, I didn't like Jar Jar Binks. But it was awesome, man. And then you had the Clone Wars cartoon, which was just fantastic.
Never watched Clone Wars.
Well, you're missing out. It's super good. Clone Wars cartoons probably, some of the best Star Wars media in general, I would say, personally. But yeah, I don't know. Star Wars, eh? Who's Star Wars podcast now?
May the 4th be with you tomorrow.
The best Star Wars media is Knights of the Old Republic, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there. Supernova with the 2. Yeah. Camera when Rand, Stella Al Thor. People are gonna camera stuff. Yeah. We got Lao Shizma or Shizmaza. I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong. Asking Jez Corden, aka the Xbox hater, to ask Microsoft about localizing World of Warcraft in Japan.
Oh, that's a good show. Actually, I will chase that up. One of the things that is kind of cool about going to LA this year is that this is the first year where I'll have been to a trade show, and I actually am relatively unhated by all the separate PR people. So like, I'm now potentially in a position where I can just ask Blizzard, so how about Japan, right? So I will try and find out about that. Especially since like they've just rekindled their relationship with NetEase, who are doing the Chinese localization and publishing for all Blizzard games. And obviously that's going to be a stack of cash for them. And it's also great for Chinese gamers who, love their World of Warcraft characters and their World of Warcraft accounts, and they're going to get all that back too. So like the servers were not wiped. That's awesome news. It's really great news. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, okay, you got China now. What about Japan? What about these, other regions where the game's either available or just not localized properly? So yeah, I'll definitely get on that. I'm a big proponent of localization.
We have Silas 199 Rand, top 3 Bears quarterbacks of all time. McMahon, Cutler, top 3 Bears quarterbacks of all time. I mean, obviously, you got to go with McMahon just because he won in 85. And, Cutler was really good, even though he didn't win anything. And I guess for third, you would go... I mean, I'm just going to go... I know people would say Sid Luckman, but I never saw him play. So I'm just judging off of quarterbacks I watched. It would either be Kyle Orton or Rex Grossman. But I'll just say Kyle Orton. I like Kyle Orton a lot. So I'll say him. Jay Foley with the 10. Good afternoon, guys. Do you believe Xbox will always have their exclusives on PC Game Pass? I recently sold my Series X because it seems I get the better version of the Xbox exclusives on my PC. So, I mean, I don't see... Yeah, I mean, Xbox will always put their games on PC.
Yeah, they'll always put their games on PC.
Will they always be in PC Game Pass? Day one?
I think so.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say, like, 20 years in the future, are they still doing, like, day one Game Pass? Right?
I think so.
Probably, but I couldn't say for sure. What I will say is their games will always be day one on PC regardless. So,
yeah,
if that's where you want to play and you get the
you're thinking that maybe Game Pass won't exist by then.
Well, it's tough to say what's gonna like what the gaming industry is gonna look like in 20 years.
That's fair enough.
But I can still, no matter what, I can still see it being Xbox's games they make still being on PC. Whether or not they're in PC Game Pass is like, you would think they still would be, but you just never know. Jones says with the 5, Randall Thor, the man with the million gamer score, Jez Corden, the man with the million haters. Laugh emojis. Sorry, Jez. I hope you all right.
Nah, I'm good, man.
Hey, you're doing something good if people hate you, right? Isn't that the whole thing?
I gained tons of followers, so I gained a ton of followers, so maybe it was great for engagement. They say there's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
That is true.
But it's kind of difficult because I want to advocate for the Xbox community, but sometimes you can't deny reality, and the reality is that Microsoft's trending in this direction. I think if Microsoft had firm plans not to bring more stuff across, I think they would be a little bit more explicit about it, and they would have locked in that strategy. Right now, they're in this experiment phase, and they can say everything's an experiment, but I think the experiment's going to give them the green light to go ahead with it. I don't think the wider audience, the Fortnite playing audience, is even aware any of this is happening, and I think that's kind of what the mentality is. I think the idea is that, and this could be they could be completely wrong, and I've argued in the past that Microsoft is too data driven, and Microsoft will have data that'll say, okay, this is what's going to happen now, but they can never predict what will happen, next year. They predicted all the right trends with the Xbox One in 2013, for example. Or your stuff like going all digital, and even the TV integrations. They predicted all that stuff completely accurately, but no amount of data could give them the heads up on how bad their messaging was. So I've argued in the past they're too data driven, and maybe everything they're doing is a mistake. But hey, man. What you gonna do? As long as there's games to play, great games to play, and that's the one thing I'm totally certain about, is that there is going to be great games to play.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
Juan with the 5 says, could you explain what Jez said and why he's in trouble now? I've not been in social media lately. Oh, man. You sit down, have a little seat. What did Jez do this time to make people so upset? Well, so Juan, what Jez said was just an opinion of his in a conversation with a friend on our Discord, the Xbox 2 Discord, which you can join. I'm sure Jez has a link somewhere. Talking about
XB2.
The future of Xbox, right? Their multi-platform strategy, their hardware strategy, all that sort of stuff that is, people have been wondering about, speculating about, talking about for months now since the February business update. But someone took that and basically kind of went on a different website and kind of bullet pointed Jez's opinions, presenting them as facts and more as a leak, quote unquote, about this is what Xbox is doing, about everything going multi-platform, and that Xbox is going to be more, hardware is going to be more, what would you say, niche, like the Steam Deck, and they don't expect to grow. And then there was a quote there about how you blame the fans for this or whatever.
Yeah, I was very specifically talking about certain content creators who were like, they won't give Xbox a chance, but then they'll also cry about monopolies and stuff. So it was just like a string of things being taken out of context.
So
and then fanboys,
yeah. Well, because it was presented on this website, and then it went to like the Reddits, then it went all over Twitter. It was presented as this like, hey, Jez has all the info. This is like a leak, and everybody just reacts to it. Everybody just like sees it and is like, oh, it's 100% true. Just like, that's why I sort of hate Twitter and social media. Is like, I love our buddy Idle Sloth, right? Who got, kind of rebranded himself. He's got the big job now, which congratulations to him. I know Sean Labrie also sort of kind of has this big promotion too. The thing is, what I don't like, and this isn't specifically anything to do with Idle Sloth, this kind of has to do with even like Wario64, is people collect the news aggregates, right? And they kind of like, all right, this is what's happening, what's going on. But then there are rumors that come out from anywhere. They could be from this podcast. They can be from other podcasts. They could be from Reset Era. They could be from the different forums. They could be from 4chan, from 8chan. They could be from wherever, right? And these accounts will essentially repost them as news so people can see it. But even though they'll put like rumor in front of it, it'll be like, rumor, this and this and this is happening. I tend to find when those things happen, people will just believe what is written. Regardless of whether it says a rumor, they just see it and they instantly believe it. And I think that's a problem in and of itself. Obviously, you can get into the whole political aspect of like fake news and things of that nature. I thought people were more discerning about what is like true and what isn't. But I tend to find, like, if I were to say here now, or like last week when we were talking about Special Nick's post about Helldivers 2, right? Potentially coming to Xbox. Like, the negotiations have begun, the early negotiations. And we were kind of making fun of the aspect of, like, the idea of saying that and sort of being like, well, it could happen, it might not happen, it's early negotiations. And I sort of said, well, my Uncle Marty or my Uncle Rick or whatever uncle I said told me about Nintendo, right? But let's just imagine I made up something on this show and I presented it in a way that it sounded legit. Like, oh, Nintendo's in early negotiations with Xbox to bring, let's just say, Splatoon over, right? But I said it, and I said, hey, I got sources, blah, 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 blah. And the rumors were presented about what I said. Well, maybe Nintendo's not the best example for this because people would doubt that. But I could make up something, and then it would get reposted, and people would see it, and they'd instantly think it was the truth. regardless of whether or not it was a rumor. And I think this happens way too often where things get posted and they're labeled as a rumor and people just accept it as fact. And then like they'll DM me about it and I'll just be like, I'm like, come on, is this true? And they're like, well, I don't know. It's like, well, why are you DMing me about it? Like, have some, introspection. Like, I don't. You get what I'm talking about, Jez?
Yeah, I mean, I think like there's a lot of reasons that people are worried about the Xbox ecosystem.
This isn't really like the Xbox ecosystem talk. I'm just talking about rumors in general, whether they relate to gaming, whether they relate to movies, because it's not just gaming that has rumors. There's rumors about Marvel. There's rumors about all these sort of things, and it's just
I know.
In my experience, it tends to be that people will believe anything and everything if it just has a rumor and it's posted by someone they follow. It's like if I said on the show, hey, I think Xbox is going to close down in 2027 or something. Well, maybe not even that, but people would go around and they'd believe it, just like they sort of did with what your opinion, right? Like, I don't know. I think that's a big problem in general, but
I think social media is, I mean, we could have a big discussion about how social media has just become this absolutely awful thing. I saw a YouTube short the other day where they were talking about, it was just some random guy doing weights on some bench or something, and they were using it as an example. And this is on TikTok specifically. I am on TikTok, so I don't know what it's like. There was just all the top comments were hate, and they had like thousands, tens of thousands of likes. And the guy's just doing nothing wrong, just doing some weights in a gym. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? It's like everyone's completely lost their mind. And there was also I saw this really great article as well about how Facebook has become like a social media graveyard, where everything on there's AI generated, AI bots, and no one actually uses Facebook anymore. It's just all AI, bots and AI talking to each other. Really interesting. So there's a whole like urban legend about dead internet theory and stuff.
Well, I mean, hey, there's a lot of replies to some big Twitter personalities that are just bots.
Yep.
I remember seeing something, it was like Stellar Blade related. It was like the replies were all basically the same reply about Stellar Blade, and it was like a whole bunch of them. It was like, well, yeah, these are bots.
Really weird.
Yeah, that's
I actually had that yesterday. I had like 3 people comment the same thing about the whole drama from yesterday. And I was like, someone sending bot messages about this, or has an AI generated some bots based on the discourse to create engagement? It's like, what the hell is going on with the internet? It's like it's breaking. It's so weird, man. But yeah.
Very, very much so.
We're a tech podcast now.
We got Just James 93 member for 6 months. Hi guys, I've been the Isle of Wight for a week. Was fun playing Xbox on my phone on the touch. If anyone ain't done it, try it. I do prefer the controller.
Yeah, because I'm going to Greece, I'm thinking about like how am I going to play Fallout 76 there, because it doesn't have crossplay on PC. Like if I want to get my Xbox save, I've got to use the cloud. So I'll probably be there too, playing it on cloud next week with the good old Razer Kishi. They just announced a Razer Kishi Ultra, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I don't.
A new Razer Kishi that's got a much more Xbox-like design with big sticks and big handles. I mean, looks pretty good.
Face 23 BKY with 199. Will Xbox use the word exclusive in their showcase?
Ooh, I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Because I was thinking about like how Microsoft kind of made their bed here, because one thing that everyone complained about and they give Microsoft feedback on was like, where are the good exclusive games, And Microsoft responded to that feedback and they're like, okay, we're gonna show you a shitload of exclusives. So in the showcase, I can't remember which one it was, but there was a showcase that was kind of notorious for Xbox exclusive,
world premiere exclusive,
world premiere exclusive, and it was constant. It was designed to be memorable, and the fact that we hear now saying like world premiere exclusive,
world premiere exclusive.
They said it over and over and over hypnotically, as if to be like, yes, get the message. We have exclusive games, over and over again. So they kind of made their bed. They built up this culture around like, delivering this idea that they were going to compete with Sony on that level. But then the industry seems to have fundamentally changed, after COVID. I think COVID has been an accelerant to what was probably going to happen anyway, where like Fortnite and these black hole games were going to start taking over more and more and more, and that like it was going to make less and less sense to really truly believe in generations, and that everything you had to support last gen as much as possible because of the amount of revenue being generated by Fortnite on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. So, and I think COVID really accelerated that. And then you've got inflation too. And then it's like when you've got inflation and your costs are going up and the cost of living's going up. So, your employees start requesting higher wages and people start, out competing each other for higher wages and stuff. Like there was the whole last year, this whole discourse about the Great Resignation, where everyone was trying to find new sources of income, right? Oh God, have I been disconnected?
No, I'm listening.
Rand?
No, I'm listening. Hello? Jez? I mean, I hear you. Well, I think we might have lost Jez. It's kind of funny that he saw that coming and he was kind of like, what's going on? Because I believe I'm still live. No. Everything looks good. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello? All right, hold on. Can you guys hear us? I'm assuming you can hear me, right? Can you hear Jez? Hello?
Hello?
Can
you hear me, Rand?
I hear you, yes.
So they can hear me on stream. Oh no. Not appeal, Jack. You can hear me.
I mean, I can hear Jez.
You're not hearing me, Rand?
I hear you, yeah.
So I can't hear Rand, apparently.
Crazy ass Discord. I don't know what it is. I think people could hear both of us. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of nuts. Hey, what's up, Kid Smooth? How you doing, buddy?
Hello? Testing.
Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now. That was weird, man. My internet just died, and then people in chat were saying that they could hear me, but you couldn't hear me.
I could hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you the whole time. What are you talking about?
Oh, I couldn't hear you. That was weird.
It's always something on your end, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got ADSL,
ADSL.
Copper cables. Yeah, copper cables, internet, old school. But they have recently dug up the entire street and they're installing fiber optic. So hopefully this bullshit will be a thing of the past. Sorry about that, everyone. I will edit that out. What's the timestamp on that? I'll edit that out.
Yeah, live show. There's always something that can happen during a live show. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is.
Book of Beard says this is so weird. The Agent of Chaos is at work. The Agent of Chaos is indeed at work. Yeah, what were we
talking?
What were we talking about?
I don't know. I was going off on a tangent about something.
You're always going off on tangents about things.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing I got disconnected.
Oh, the word showcase. The word exclusive in the showcase.
Oh,
yeah.
So, exclusive, premiere, right. Okay, so Microsoft had this whole thing where they're doing exclusive premiere, and they're hammering it home hypnotically. World premiere, exclusive, over and over and over and over again. And it was in response to PlayStation, and the feedback from fans that we wanted more exclusive games. And now, like, COVID has accelerated us to a point where exclusives make less sense than ever. Everyone's just playing Fortnite all day. Games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth aren't selling. Alan Wake 2 hasn't recouped any investment. So like, if it's not a service game, it's really hard to get a look in right now and crack through that zeitgeist. And one way you can crack through the zeitgeist is to put your games everywhere. I don't know if Fallout would be blowing up like it is if it wasn't everywhere. But you know, that being said, we do have a ton of drama going on for Helldivers 2 right now, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, but what is so we'll answer this question and then we'll talk about the Helldivers thing because I think it's interesting. Do you think they'll use the word exclusive? Because remember, they made a big deal. Question, right? They made a big deal out of Starfield being exclusive, right? Sarah Bond's said and it's exclusive, right? And they had the big letters on the poster and in the video. Same thing with Redfall. Although we like to think we forget that game. So I would imagine, out of all the games that are going to be shown, are they going to use the word exclusive? Or will they shy away from it? Because I was thinking about this too.
I don't think they'll say exclusive.
You don't think so?
I don't think they will. I think they'll shy away from it.
Let me ask you this question then: do you have a mention of PlayStation during the show, or the Switch?
Well, Sarah used. I saw a bunch of questions about this too.
The blue emoji,
the blue heart emoji from Sarah
for Blizzard. People thought it was for PlayStation.
Was it for Blizzard?
I mean,
that confirmed. Why shout out Blizzard but not Activision? Activision's colors not blue.
I don't know.
Well, a lot of people took that as code to mean PlayStation.
They sure did. They sure did. So let's present a scenario, right? We'll talk about the showcase stuff a little bit later in the show, but let's present about because I had this conversation I think last night with Cognito, ILP. I know he's gonna be listening later. I said to him, sounds like the Gears collection's real. So Nick's going to win that one with Jez. Although Jez is going to say that at the time Nick said the Gears collection existed, it didn't exist. So they're both right, is what Jez will say, right? But there are rumors that the Gears collection is going to be on PlayStation, correct?
I have nothing in mind.
Okay.
If that's the rumor, then that's the rumor.
There's rumors that it will be. Whether or not it is. Well, I'll just use Gears Collection as an example. Where you have a situation where the trailer shows and at the end it features the platforms as they typically do. Will something like the Gears Collection say Xbox, the Xbox logo, Steam logo, Windows logo, and then the PS5 logo?
Yeah. I think that's how they'd probably do it.
You think that's how they would probably do it? If
you gotta rip the Band-Aid off, man. I mean, there's no point hiding it. There's no point tiptoeing around it. If they're doing it, they've got to just do it and admit it and end this roller coaster that the community's been on non-stop, where it's is it, will it, won't it, when, and all that kind of stuff. What I think is that this is my informed opinion. Based on conversations I've had with sources, is that nothing is off the table. Nothing's ring fenced. They're not sitting there thinking, oh, never Halo. They're not sitting there saying never Forza. They're not saying never any of these games, right? But they are very closely and carefully monitoring how it damages potentially the monthly active users, but also the growth of monthly active users, specifically on console, because console is still more than half of their revenue, from what I understand. So you don't want to destroy that community, right? But the assumption is that the vast majority of people don't actually care or know about any of this stuff, and I know people don't like to hear that. But that is at least what I'm assuming their assumption is that most people don't care about this stuff. You can decide for yourself whether that's true or not, but I think that's what their hypothesis is. Now they're testing that hypothesis with these 4 games, but if, they have ported already classic games to PlayStation. Like, I remember seeing some people were annoyed that the Doom, was it Doom or was it Quake? It was Quake, right?
Quake 1 and 2.
Yeah, I remember seeing some people annoyed that Quake was ported to PlayStation and wasn't exclusive. It's like, oh, why? That could have been exclusive to Xbox, And I think Microsoft probably thinks about Gears Collection in the same vein. It's like an older game. It's sold through, and people probably. I mean, ask yourselves this: would anyone really switch their platform for the Gears Collection? Probably not. But would people who maybe left Xbox during the Xbox One debacle, would they give Gears a go for nostalgia's sake if they used to be an Xbox 360 gamer? I think they would, but they wouldn't buy I don't think they'd buy a whole ass Xbox for it. So you kind of have to ask yourself, like, this is really like about just making obvious money,
Sure.
There's potentially no downside to it, at least in theory.
But that's a long about way of answering whether or not, because it's just hypothetical. Like,
well, I have to go long. I have to go long about now because everyone takes what's out of context. I have to cover my ass on every single fucking point, broski.
Yeah. So, will they use the word exclusive? I don't know. Will there be the mention of other platforms? Maybe, yes. Maybe not. You think so?
I think they will. I think they'll say PlayStation.
You think they will?
Hell, how about this? Maybe PlayStation will be on fucking stage.
Oh,
maybe PlayStation will be on stage, and they'll be like, "Yeah, we're bringing Helldivers to Xbox."
Dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Can you? I think it'd be awesome if they were like, "We're bringing Helldivers to Xbox," and
Hiroki Toroki on stage with Phil.
Yeah, and really bring the walls down.
Speaking of Helldivers, cool. Man, Sony really angered the PC gamers today. Because I believe to play Helldivers 2 on PC now, it is now a requirement to log into PlayStation Network, whereas before it wasn't there. It was disabled because of all the problems they were having. And PC gamers aren't having it. The reviews are coming in really negative. There's like something like 70,000 reviews, and they're mostly like mixed or whatever. A big, huge clusterfuck. So much so the CEO of Arrowhead basically thrown Sony under the bus on this one.
Yeah, on the Discord, he very firmly blamed Sony. He also linked Sony's FAQ about the game, in which Sony's own FAQ says it's optional.
So I'm gonna say that because some areas, some regions don't have PlayStation Network, so like I guess you wouldn't be able to like log in and play the game that you bought because you can't log in because there's no PlayStation Network. So
this is a teething problem of going to a new market, and Microsoft's had a lot of these teething problems when they were trying to do PC. I mean, God, do you remember Games for Windows Live? That was an absolute nightmare.
Sure was.
So it's not unsurprising that Sony would have these kind of teething problems too. It should have been there from day one. The whole PlayStation sign-in stuff. If it was there from day one, I don't think it would have been created such a backlash. But the problem is, like you say, they've been selling the game in regions where PlayStation Network isn't available, forcing people to risk using a VPN to sign in. But Arrowhead said that they're talking to Sony about how they can get around that issue. For people who just literally don't have access to PSN, and those people do exist. It's not like the oh, how am I going to play my Xbox One on a submarine scenario from back in the day. There are just entire countries where you can't make a PSN account without a VPN, and the game's been sold there and it's been selling there. Steam's refund policy does say that if the game's functionality fundamentally changes, you can get a refund regardless of how
much you've played,
how much you play it. Yeah, so potentially those users can get refunds, but it's also kind of like, well, that sucks because they want to play the game because they like it and they're fans of it, So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a mess. I'm sure Sony will work it out and it'll be all right in the end. But
yeah, there was also
problems, man.
There was also Matt Piscatella of Sicania, whatever used to be MPD.
We need to ask him how that's pronounced, because
I don't know whatever. But there was some Helldivers 2 info. I think it's like the second best-selling game of the year. Still selling incredibly well. Said it's like Sony's 7th best-selling PlayStation game ever, essentially, up to this point. But he also mentioned that without PC, it wouldn't even be in the top 20 for PlayStation.
I'm sure the fanboys took that information very, very maturely.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't call Matt names. In fact, they did, of course. There's also some talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I think was the 4th highest-selling game of the year. Not selling as well as Remake, but not like a total disaster.
It's the 4th highest-selling game of the year, but still disappointing for them.
Yeah.
4th.
I mean, what else has come out this year that would sell a lot? Dragon's Dogma 2's already outsold the first game. That's obviously just like sales in the US, though, right?
Yeah.
I think Dragon's Dogma's outsold the first game already. Rebirth sales are less than Remake sales, but not like a disaster, not like a complete disaster like people thought. Just but like, yeah, it's lower.
What? Why do we think that is? Like, do we have any insight?
Why Rebirth is lower than Remake?
Yeah,
because it's a sequel to a game. You got to remember, Remake was on the PS4. So 120 million consoles or whatever it was at the time. Rebirth is just a PS5 exclusive that only has 50, 60 million consoles. It's a sequel to a game, so you need to play the first game to play this one. Some people didn't like remakes and they decided not to, to continue. So, I mean, those are probably the reasons. This isn't like
Remake was well liked.
I mean, sure, Remake was liked, but there's still a segment of people that didn't like it. And it's not like Final Fantasy 16 where it's a new entry and you don't need previous knowledge of previous games. You can just jump into it and play it. Like this one, everything's predicated on the last one. So, and you're going from PS4 and PS5 to just PS5. You're losing a whole bunch of users, and it's not on PC.
Oh, yeah, it's not on PS4. It's almost as if last gen is disproportionately more important than it used to be. It's almost as if leaving generations is a bad idea.
But also, hardware was down across the board. Because we talked about hardware with the Xbox last week. Hardware was down. All three were down over 30% year over year.
So. Well, this is another thing. Like Microsoft said in their shareholder stuff that the console stuff is in line with the market, and people bashed Xbox, and doom and gloomed and all that kind of stuff as usual. But it's the post-COVID economy, which is still really strange. Like it's really weird because unemployment is down, the stock market is up, but it feels like a recession. No one's got any money. Everything's really expensive. Like, God, what was I buying the other day? I can't remember exactly what it was, but I bought something the other day from like groceries, and it was like $3.95. And when I feel like I could remember a time when it was like 99 cents, And it's like, what the hell is going on with food prices and all this stuff, And so people are worried about money. So I think people are probably spending less and investing more in free-to-play black hole games, because what is the best game to play when you can't afford $70? It's a free-to-play black hole game, which is updated for free forever, and you're not really forced to buy that Goku skin or that, horse armor and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like it's just a more affordable way to game. You'd think in that scenario, Game Pass would be a good value proposition potentially, but I don't know. It's just a weird economy. But also, everyone's gone back to work and school. Maybe everyone's just fed up of gaming. I don't know. Playtime hours were down. Like I had some data from Newzoo. Newzoo is a games research and analytics firm in the UK. Newzoo are very good. They analyze the gaming industry and all that kind of stuff. And in their report for Q1 2024, they said that gaming playtime hours is vastly down. So like even the people who own these consoles are playing less games. And there's probably multiple factors for this. I think like the year before we had Elden Ring, which was absolutely massive. And then we had Harry Potter, which was similarly massive. And this year we haven't really had anything on that kind of level. So the growth has sort of trended downwards because of that. And also like I think because the game industry is getting a lot more mainstream attention than it used to. I think like for a lot of people and outlets, they're kind of discovering that the game industry is a little bit cyclical. Like it's always a little bit like this. Like it ebbs and flows based on the zeitgeist of games that are out at the minute. Now, like stuff like Dragon's Dogma and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and all that is like great, but they're also probably not super duper system sellers like a new Call of Duty would be, or a new Grand Theft Auto would be. I kind of feel like the entire industry is probably just sitting there waiting for Grand Theft Auto to tear through and make everything better again, But yeah, the industry's in a bit of a weird place, and but it'll bounce back. It always does. It always does, man.
Does it? Does it, Jez?
Yeah, man. The market always goes up, bro. I mean, look at the what's it called? What's it called, man? The stock market. Look at the entire stock market trend. It always goes up, but then it's cyclical. It goes down a little bit, and then it goes up a little bit. At least that's what I learned from Reddit stock market subreddit. What's it called? Wall Street Bets. Yeah, man. Did you not know I'm a stock market guy now?
I did not know that. I did not.
No, I got shares. I'm going to the moon. I got GameStop shares, man. I'm going to the moon with GameStop. Gonna be rich, bro.
Well, share some of that with me. We got Gray Fox with the 2. Will Bethesda patch the quality mode on Fallout 4?
Yes.
You think so?
Of course they will.
Even though they said it's like intended to be that way on the Xbox?
I mean, they'll do bug fixes and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what they'll be doing with that aspect of it. I honestly need to look into it more. I haven't looked into it that much. But it sounds like, I don't know. It just sounds a bit odd. I don't know if the reason it's a lower frame rate on, like, people think that the 40 FPS mode on PlayStation is 40 FPS because it has extra graphical features, right? I don't know how true that is, and I haven't seen the analysis, so I need to look into it a bit more, but I'm sure that they're looking at it. We'll see.
Let's see what else we got. We have James Wiseau says Randall Jiggle, talking about them jiggle physics. I saw like a reading of that tweet by like a voice actor, and I was absolutely dying. But he also says,
what did he say? What did he say?
Oh, I'd have to find it and send it to you. I think it was about Stellar Blade. Something about like, you cowards need to fight for jiggle physics or something. It's hilarious. I'd have to find it and send it to you. James Wiseau with the $9.99 says, Showcase season is on us, and it's always exciting. I know it's a topic. Maybe this is a segue. But what's your guys' hope for one more thing? Can be from any of the showcases, not just Xbox. All right. Any of the showcases, so not just Xbox, so that includes like Ubisoft and all the others. My one more thing.
Splinter Cell.
How'd you know, dude? You didn't even let me get into it. It was like the lighting turns off, right? You're in the dark, and then you hear the iconic ding. Like the 3 things light up. Oh, Ubisoft! Come on, you dominate the entire showcase season, starting it off with Splinter Cell. Come on, it's right there for the taking, dude. Come on, and you know it, Jez. How hyped would you be? You're sitting there. Well, I don't think
zero
is it live?
Hype.
You would be hyped. Shut up.
I would be.
You would be
hyped.
so hyped. I know everybody in chat's hyped right now thinking about this at the Ubisoft show where it just goes dark. They're like, where's Sam Fisher?
Nobody. Look, dude, nobody cares.
You know, and boom.
Dude, nobody cares about Splinter Cell, bro. And dude, you literally got your Splinter Cell game, dude.
Did I? When? When did I get my Splinter Cell game?
You got your Splinter Cell, dude. The mobile game.
Oh my god, I hate you so much. You know that? What would be your +1? And World of Warcraft, something dumb.
I'm already
Overwatch 2 Season 10, dude. New character.
We already got Season 10. I don't know. Actually.
Or maybe I know this would be perfect for Jez. Here we go. Here at Xbox, we're investing in new technology. So we have what we would call the Jez Maker, patent pending. So anybody who's a member of Xbox Game Pass Gold can turn on I gotta come up with a better name than the Jez Maker, but Jez Mode. We'll call it Jez Mode. And what Jez Mode will do, it will play the game and beat it for you. For those of you who don't know what it's like to actually beat games, there you go. AI will beat the game for you.
Didn't Sony
and then write the review for you.
Oh,
we'll call it Jez Mode.
Sony patented that, didn't they?
Yeah, something like that.
AI that automatically completes the games. My +1 would be.
Josh says in chat the Jez Maker. Jez Mode.
Yeah, Jez Mode. It'd be StarCraft, man. It'd be StarCraft. You know. When I remember when they announced StarCraft 2, it was like such a explosive hype moment. And Phil's teased that shit. It'd be so cool if they just got on stage and announced StarCraft. There's no BlizzCon this year, so if they were going to do it, a little teaser just to say that it's coming and start the hiring process, because they would need to hire for it since the StarCraft team no longer exists anymore. I think that'd be cool. The one more thing, StarCraft, even if it wasn't an RTS, if it was like, shooter or something, but I really think they probably need to start off with an RTS, to earn the fans' trust before they start doing spin-offs and stuff.
Yeah. Fuzzy Belvedere in chat says it was the PlayStation Autoplay. That's what the name of their patent was. And people are loving Jez Mode. They're loving it, man. They can feel it. Yeah.
I'm Jez maxing, Jez moding. Yeah. Go Jez Mode and be a double agent of chaos like me, baby.
Right? The Jez Mode. Let's see what else we got here. We have we got the one and only Wagerman to $5. Hello, gents. A quick hello to say how much I appreciate both of you and your honesty. Keep up the great work and see you in LA, Jez. When you coming, Rand? Ah, yes. I know you're going to LA. I will not be there this year. So, well, hopefully next year, maybe. But I hope you're doing good, Wagerman. And I know everybody, he's always there. Did you hang out with him last year, Jez? At the showcase?
I did. Yeah. I did indeed. It's going to be awesome to meet everyone again. I'm really looking forward to
that. John Jones with the 5 and the 2. He says, Jez is finishing Xbox before Persona 5. And with Starfield getting a 60 FPS mode, is there a chance for Hellblade 2 also getting a 60 FPS patch later? I mean, I suppose...
Yeah, maybe.
There might be. I guess never say never.
I did ask around about that because I was wondering, like, well, how did they manage to do that?
How did they manage to do that?
Because I was wondering, like, did they literally have to change their Xbox to free up resources or something to make that happen? But it was just a case of finding little optimizations here and there over time and making it happen. So maybe they could do that for Hellblade 2. Find all the optimizations. I think, like, with regards to Creation Engine, there's a lot of technical debt there, maybe, and it just makes it kind of tough to pull off some of this kind of stuff sometimes, but I got there in the end, eh? I got there in the end. You super stoked for 60 FPS because I know how hard it is for you to experience 30.
Well, let's talk. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the big update that Todd kind of talked about on Kind of Funny, and surprisingly, we get a 40 FPS mode and a 60 FPS mode, if I'm not mistaken, right? Those were two of the new display modes coming. Mm-hmm. We also getting let's see what else on. New city maps are being added to the game. New shipbuilding features, new gameplay and difficulty options. I think even in the video they showcase vehicles. So you can get into a vehicle and traverse the planets, which is probably most needed. So they're adding a bunch of stuff. Todd made the announcement that the expansion, Shattered Space, will be coming, like kind of this fall. I would imagine right in time for the 1-year anniversary of the game. But this big update's coming May 15th. I think it's in like beta right now on Steam.
Yep.
But yeah, sounds good. Sounds like, because I think you did tell me that like they were doing stuff with like Starfield. Because I remember we were talking about it, like, man, it doesn't seem like Starfield's getting a lot of attention. But then you were saying like, oh no, like they're doing stuff. It's just
they're cooking.
They're cooking. But I have seen people say like, oh well, now that it's 60. Should they have just delayed the game from September of last year, and this should have been the release date, May 2025?
It wouldn't have changed my experience with it. The big issue with Starfield is the fact that the exploration isn't worth doing. You do like that's the one thing about it that I would criticize it for mainly. I mean, it has a lot of little flaws, but the big flaw that I think has sort of robbed a lot of its shine is the fact that it doesn't really have that longevity that a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls has, where every point of interest is worth exploring, at least to some degree. It's not really worth exploring every planet in Starfield. The procedural generation is miles behind similar games. You've got stuff like No Man's Sky. It's really easy to compare it to No Man's Sky, and obviously No Man's Sky has had years of development to sort of get back its potential, but it's hard to not compare it to that, And the procedural generation in that game is just light years ahead. Light years, because it's a space game. Did you get it, Rand? It's almost as if I'm a writer or something. But yeah, I think I wrote an article today actually while you were asleep, Rand.
Yeah.
That because I was like, I've been on a Fallout binge, as you know, and like my YouTube shorts and my Instagram are full of, it's just rammed with Fallout content, and I keep seeing this like narrative being spread around that Bethesda should abandon Starfield and just go all in on Fallout 5.
I've seen that. I've seen people talk about that.
Yeah, and but I just think like that'd be such a waste. They've got the sort of the base experience for Starfield down, and it wouldn't be such a mountain to climb to give it a legacy that will make it more remembered in a more positive light. There's so much potential in that game, for DLC and for new features and all this kind of stuff. And since they've developed it, they might as well try and squeeze a bit more fan feedback into the product before moving fully on. So while I do want Fallout 5 very, very desperately, probably more so than any other, potential game from the Microsoft, stable, I don't think they should just abandon Starfield just because of the hype of the TV show. But that's just me.
Right. I think you said people would ask me if I would get back into Starfield with this update, and the answer to that question is no. Right? I'm done with Starfield until the expansion comes out. I will go back to Starfield when Shattered Space is out, and then I'll enjoy all these quality of life improvements. The 60 frames for sure. I'll test that out. The 40 frames, which is much appreciated. Everything else they're adding, the city maps and stuff like that. But I'm really only interested in Starfield for sort of the missions and the stories and all the stuff that they present. I don't care about the exploration because I barely did it in the first game. Maybe I would have done more of it if it was fun to do. Like if there was actual way to get to the areas like in a vehicle like they're adding, maybe then it's like, okay, maybe I'll check this out. But just kind of like running in a direction and kind of boost flying and just to get to a place that isn't really interesting. I think I did it on a couple planets, and then after that I was like, yeah, there's nothing here, right? So what's the point? And I just kind of went back to doing...
There's either nothing there, or it's just what was on the last planet.
I get it. It's like, okay, most planets are going to be like that because there's, not going to be anything on there, but it's like, well, I don't want to waste my time. That's what I sort of felt like I was doing. Like I was wasting my time. Not only my time in like real life where I could have been done something else, but also my time playing Starfield where it's like I could be doing other things that are more enjoyable than just, oh, what is this out in the distance? Oh, it's just a crater where some things are and some iron and some of those things where I could be experiencing the storyline of, whatever, the raider, I forget, like, the pirates or whatever, or doing some of those things, like things that actually have a story and dialogue and all this stuff. Like, why am I wasting my time doing this? There's other things to be within the game itself that are fun to do that I would have more fun with. It's like, I'm just not only wasting my real life time, but the time I would spend be playing the game. And it's like, yeah, so I stopped doing that. But it's cool that sounds like they're still investing in the franchise. I mean, I didn't think we would get a 60 FPS mode, and here we are. Now, does that say, like, all they needed was extra time to be able to get up to that point? Then, of course, people bring up, like, Todd, and like, oh, the creative vision was 30 frames. And once again, it's kind of like, is it though, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this one of those things where it's like, well, how could it be your creative vision, but now it's 60? I'm not complaining that it's 60. Absolutely love it.
Did they actually say it was creative
vision?
Well,
I know, like, the Hellblade people did, but I'm pretty sure, Todd said something along those lines. I'd have to dig up the exact quote. But maybe it's just more like, hey, if the game had more time, maybe they would have hit the 60 and the 40. But it was like, hey, we're shipping now, and maybe 60 is not a priority, or the other frame rates aren't a priority. We need to get all these other things finished. And now that they're working on the game, and it's like, okay, well, we can actually do this now because we have the resources, and we're not like on a timetable. We don't have a deadline we need to hit, right? And it's not. And I really don't think if 60 was there available on the console, like it would have mattered much at all to the sales of the game, like, or people picking it up on Game Pass. I don't think like somebody's like, well, it's 30, I'm not going to get it. They probably would have played it on PC if it was that much of a if it mattered that much to them. Part of me does think, would that have affected reviews? Like, and I don't think it would have, because I think Starfield at launch 30. I think it was like the game was really solid for what it offered at that frame rate. It wasn't like Redfall's, so I'm not sure that if that option was there, that it would reviewed higher.
The only thing that could have made the game review higher is gore.
Oh, gore. You love that gore, huh?
Yeah, and the game had no gore. You're giving me these badass shotguns that produce no gore at all. So yeah, if it had gore, it would have been above Zelda on Metacritic.
Yeah, but I
99 out of 100.
Now, because like Fallout blew up, I have seen people being like, oh, they wish that they never did Starfield and that they had just went to Fallout. Because imagine if Fallout 5 had come out last year and how much it'd be blowing up right now. Obviously,
or imagine if Fallout was coming out in like,
or Fallout was the next game instead of Elder Scrolls. Like, some people I've seen legitimate take where they wish Starfield never existed, and it was either like Elder Scrolls or the next game was Fallout. But that's obvious.
If the take was get rid of Elder Scrolls, then I'd be like, maybe.
But if the take was get rid of Starfield,
because let's face it, right? The problem with Elder Scrolls, right, is it's trying to be World of Warcraft, but no fantasy game can ever be as good as World of Warcraft.
Christ. So who cares? Why do you always bring everything to comparison to World of Warcraft? Nobody cares, Jez. Nobody cares.
Man.
Let's see. We get Dan with the $10 in the super chat. Jez and Rand take on the world. That's the game I want to play. Jez fights off all the haters with the saber, or Rand, Sky Millionaire, checks his hair in the mirror. Sign me up. I'm in. I'll play that game. William with the 5 says, thank you to Jez for giving the PlayStation side of my PlayStation versus Xbox group a lot of ammo over the last few days. Keep up the good work. Always giving the ammo, huh? Silas with the 10. Why do some Xbox social media influencers like Redacted act like Phil stole their firstborn child? Xbox is a business and they need to make money, not coddle entitled fans.
Yeah, it's true.
That's social media for you, bro. It's all about outrage. It's all about it's all about engagement farming. And outrage is a much better way to get people engaged than the opposite. It's been proven time and time again, not only on Twitter and YouTube, but normally if you agree with somebody, you don't even really respond. You just kind of like see it and you're like, yep.
Yeah, that's one of the issues with comment systems. And it's so amazing, right, when people take the time to reach out and say something positive. Mm-hmm. Because I know they've gone out of their way to do it. And a lot of the people listening to this show will do it. And I appreciate each and every single one of you that does that, because I know it's like you kind of have to go out your way to do that. For some reason, it's easier for people to leave a negative comment or err towards a negative. And I don't know if that's just human nature, I don't know if it's just human nature, because I think part of it is like a lot of apps, for example, like Twitter, for example, there's a like button, a little heart, right? And if you like something, maybe you just slap the like button and then leave it at that. But there's no dislike button. So if you want to express your dislike of something, you kind of have to be a dick in the comments, right? Like back in the day, YouTube had a dislike button, and you can get it back with a Chrome add-on. But there's no real way to express yourself on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and all these other places that only have a like button, like and comment. The comments skew negative because that's the only way to give a negative feedback. If there was a dislike button, maybe the comments would be more balanced out. But I think all these social media platforms know that, like, if they can get everyone mad and arguing in the comments, that's going to generate more engagement than if people are just, leaving positive comments. And, again, it gets into sort of a wider discussion about, the virtues of social media, like we were talking about earlier. But, yeah, when people do leave nice comments, it's awesome. And I think when a lot of Xbox fans... I mean, the dude who called me an agent of chaos, like, I was looking through his timeline, and it's just really sad. It's like, gaming's supposed to be fun, and I get the nerves. There's like some like legitimate reasons to be nervous about Microsoft's strategy here, because it could lead to a situation where Xbox gets out of hardware, and it's like, what happens to our library? So there's anxiety and things worth questioning, on a legitimate level. We've invested money in this platform, so we deserve to know, and we deserve a say in that direction, and we deserve to be heard. That's legitimate. But there comes a point where it's like you're actually, hating people on a personal level for having a difference of opinion from you, or you're burying your head in the sand so hard that anyone who sort of pokes at that self-imposed narrative makes you psychotically angry. It's, I don't know, like what's his name? The guy who called me an agent of chaos, man. Like, what?
You are an agent of chaos, though.
Yeah,
so
but it's right. the same dude, like just a few weeks ago, was praising me and saying like, "Oh yeah, I totally agree with it. If it fits his narrative, then yeah, it's great. If it doesn't, then oh my god, agent of chaos." That's NPC behavior, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's talk about the showcase, shall we?
Yeah, let's showcase it up, baby.
Showcase it up because
get some Rand predictions, not predictions.
Yeah. Because Microsoft announced the showcase this week, along with the title of the article is Xbox Game Showcase followed by Redacted Direct. Airs on June 9th. So Sunday, June 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have the game showcase. And then directly following that, we have this secret redacted thing that everybody knows is Call of Duty. Everybody knows it's the new Call of Duty game. It's Call of Duty Black Ops 5. Although it sort of seems...
we have to make a confession, though, Rand.
What?
Me and you didn't know it was Call of Duty, did we, Rand?
What do you mean?
Because I sent you the graphic for that.
No, you didn't.
Last week. I did, didn't I?
No, you didn't. No.
I did.
You told me what it was, and I told you it was dumb.
But didn't I send you the graphic?
No, you didn't send me the graphic. You told me. So here's what Jez told me. So last week he's like, "There's a direct after the Xbox game showcase." I'm like, "Oh, cool. What is it?"
Am I exposing myself now? Yeah.
Do you want me to say what you thought it was?
No, it's fine. Like, okay. Let me explain it. So okay. I thought I sent you the graphic.
No, you didn't send me the graphic.
And you agree. I thought you agreed.
No,
with me.
You didn't send me the graphic.
I did send you the graphic, but I think I deleted it. Maybe you didn't see it fast enough.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Well, anyway, long story short, I thought it was The Division.
Yes. So Jez says to me, there is a direct after the show like Starfield, and I'm like, oh, okay. I was thinking, oh, maybe like a Gears, I was thinking State of Decay 3 or something, or right? And he's like, no, it's Division 2. And I'm like, what? Like, in fact, let me go. Let me see. Let me just go read our conversation. How far up do I gotta scroll for this?
And how long? This was like quite a while ago. It was before, it was way before they were gonna announce it. And yeah, guys, I thought it was. Well, when I first looked at it, when I first laid eyes on the graphic for the show, I was like, that's State of Decay 3 because it's orange and it's a 3-headed dog and 3 State of Decay 3, right? So I thought, oh, it's State of Decay 3. But then I looked at it a bit more.
All right, here we go. So Jez sent me this stuff on April 26th, right? And Jez goes, holy shit, they're going to do an Xbox showcase into the State of Decay Direct. And State of Decay 3 is set in DC. And then immediately Jez goes, never mind, it's the Division Direct. I got the logo wrong. Weird they're linking the Xbox showcase to the Division. And I go, Division Direct? Like Division 3? And Jez goes, nope. Division 2 Major Update Direct. And I'm like, at the Xbox show, ? And Jez goes, yeah. I'm like, ew. What is that, brother? Ew. And Jez goes, after it, like how Starfield Direct happened. And I said, that's a huge mistake. Xbox, and Jez says, Xbox Showcase.
They didn't make a mistake.
Xbox Showcase into Division Direct. They got the marketing for Division, though. I like Division. And I go, that is dumb.
Well,
and then I said, no one cares about Division 2. They need to
That's not true.
I said they need to axe that from the show like as soon as possible. And Jez goes in capital letters, no. And then I go in capital letters, yes. And I say, no one gives two fucks about The Division. It will affect how the Xbox show is perceived by people having this after it. And Jez goes, my God, all in caps, you're such a Debbie Downer. And I go, dude, are you fucking serious? You think people want to see Division fucking 2? Lol. And Jez goes, it's after the show, and I want to see it. So that was our conversation.
Well, it was wrong. I thought it was Division because I looked in the background. It's that American building. What's it called? Capitol building.
Looks like the Capitol building. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Washington DC, and Division's set in Washington DC. And I knew Division's got a big update coming up called Heartland. So I thought, oh, they're doing Division. That's pretty cool. It must be a really big update, you know. But then obviously, when it was announced. And got the actual embargo, it was like, oh, it's redacted direct. And then I was like, well, redacted? And I was like, that could still be The Division.
Can you imagine Jez Corden out here thinking that Microsoft's going to end the show with a Division 2 direct in year of our Lord 2024?
Dude,
the year of our Lord, cool, 2024, man. Division 2 is gonna end the Xbox show, and I'm sitting there thinking this dude's crazy, and then he's telling me you're just a Debbie Downer. I'm like, who the fuck wants to see Division 2 in an Xbox show? What the hell is going on?
We do so much traffic for the Division 2, man. I'm telling you, Division 2 is still quite popular.
I'm not saying it's not popular. I'm just saying nobody would care to see it at an Xbox show. Save that for the Ubisoft show or whatever. Like, nobody would care. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, has Phil lost his mind? Has Sarah Bond and Matt Booty lost their goddamn minds? What are they doing? There's plenty of their own games they could do a direct with.
Well, it was clearly incorrect. And then I wrote the article, right? And the first version of the article, even in that first version, it says partnering with Ubisoft, because I started writing it before I got any of the actual information. And then, like, I published it without deleting that in, and I had to kind of sneakily remove it because I was like, oh shit, it's not. Because everyone in the replies was like, oh, it's clearly Call of Duty. I was like, oh yeah, of course it is. I'm an idiot. So yes, it was not the Division direct. You were right, Rand.
Yeah,
it would have been crazy.
Yeah, it would have been dumb as hell if they did that. Code 3 with 199 super chat says another Tomb Raider on Game Pass. Could it show up in June? I mean, they just added a new Tomb Raider reboot to Game Pass, and I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider just rejoined, so it's possible Rise of the Tomb Raider ends up jumping in there. But yeah, so we know it's obviously Call of Duty. It's Black Ops 5. It does sound like they're not going to use the subtitle
Gulf War.
They're just going to go Black Ops 5.
Yeah, I think
makes more sense.
Yeah, I think Gulf War was just a working title. Obviously, it is set in the Gulf War, but I think everything that's sort of going down in the Middle East right now is probably, not. It's not. It's probably sensitive to. Yeah. It would have been sensitive to have called it that, I think, to some degree. But even still, it's like it's still set in the Gulf War, I believe, and it's probably just going to be. I think I've seen the phrase Black Ops V be bandied about. I don't know what they're calling it in the end, but
probably will be Black Ops V.
Do you remember when they spelled Black Ops 4 with 4 eyes?
4 eyes, yes.
What if they're going to do Black Ops with 5 eyes?
No, I think that's too many. No? Black Ops V.
Too many eyes?
Fine. Yeah.
Do you think 4 eyes was too many already? Why not just go all out? Do 5 eyes?
I don't know. Black Ops V will be good. But they say, like our double feature last year with Starfield Direct, immediately following the showcase will be airing a special deep dive into the next installment of a beloved franchise. Can't say too much, so for now we'll call it the Xbox Game Showcase followed by Redacted Direct. This will also be our first showcase featuring games from our portfolio of studios across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios, in addition to titles from our third-party partners. They also are doing FanFest, which they're giving away tickets for, but it sort of seems that FanFest is scaled down this year. You were telling me some of that. I think they're only giving away 100 winners for FanFest, when I think years previous it's been 250 or 500 or whatever it's been.
I don't know.
So there's that. So the showcase stuff, obviously we knew June 9th was going to be the date. Weren't too sure about this direct. What can we expect from this, Jez? I mean, obviously we probably do our predictions like the week before the show, but
Jez,
the double agent of Chaos. Yeah.
Is that like the Spinner-Rooney?
Yes, that is just like the Spinner-Rooney.
Spinner-Rooney. Yeah. Well, what are we gonna see? I mean, honestly,
I guess this. What are we gonna see from Activision? Let's just go that. What are we gonna see from Activision?
Well, we're not gonna see a Division Direct. We're gonna see Black Ops V.
You think it's smart?
People in chat saying it's Black Ops 6. Is it Black Ops 6?
Well, I mean, let's see. Black Ops 1, 2, 3. Well, there was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
So that would have been Black Ops 5. So yeah, maybe it is.
Maybe this is Black Ops 6. Or maybe they're just... Yeah, I don't know how they're going to...
I don't know what the name is. But I suppose more importantly... I don't know what Activision going to show. And honestly, I don't know a great deal about what's going to be in the show in general, personally. And I'll probably get more information close to the show, as you will as well, probably. Randall pretending he doesn't get any info.
I don't.
That is, but we can speculate and hope and talk about what we hope to see there.
All right, well, I think what people want from Activision is some Game Pass announcements. Would you agree?
Yes. So a lot of people are hoping that we see some of the games that never ended up coming to backwards compatibility, and it's stuff like Prototype, Singularity, but also classic Call of Duty games in Game Pass. Maybe there's a lot of Activision legacy that Microsoft hasn't really tapped into yet. And I will say, I can't remember if they put this out there or not, but Diablo has seen almost 2 million extra new players because of Xbox Game Pass. I was told recently.
How many?
And almost 2 million extra players because of Game Pass. And half of those were on console. So Xbox, no slouch, right? But I kind of feel like if they dropped everything all at once, you might risk reducing the impact of that. So what do you think they should do here, Rand? Do you think they should drop the entire Activision catalog all at once in a big splash? Or should they be more conservative and just be like, well, we're going to do this here, do a little drop there, one game now, this game here, because there's only so many gamers and there's only so many and we already talked about earlier how there's a reduced amount of people having playtime hours. And is that because they feel like they don't have anything to play, or is it because they physically don't have time because they're working extra jobs because the economy's so fucked?
What do I think they do, and what should they do are two totally separate things. Like, you would think what they should do
both.
Is, hey, they should drop everything at once, like they did with Bethesda. I think
like binge watching a TV show.
Because people will be like, hey, we've been waiting, right? You closed this in October, and it's already May, and there's just been Diablo 4 in Game Pass. Where are all the other games you promised? What they probably will do is, like, there's so many games and so many of them are Call of Duty, I don't think it would really make much sense to release them all. So it's kind of like what I speculated before, where you could have a run-up of, like, this month, we're celebrating Modern Warfare, so here's all the Modern Warfare games. Or this month we're celebrating Black Ops, here's all the Black Ops games, and that includes, like, the next-gen and back compat stuff. Or this month is Spyro and Spyro and Crash, and you You have the Spyro game and you have Crash and stuff, and it's like you separate it by months. But I think they do need to have a roadmap of what they're going to do with their properties and when people can expect them to be added. But I think the main thing Activision is going to show is obviously going to be Call of Duty, Black Ops 5 or 6 or whatever you want to call it. They'll probably have a trailer during the show just in case people don't stay to tune in for the direct, because they did that for Starfield where people were like, why is there a trailer for Starfield during the show? There's a whole direct. And it's like, well, not everyone's going to watch that, so there'll probably be a trailer for Call of Duty game that'll say, make sure to tune in after the show for the Call of Duty reveal. I wonder if they make mention of it coming to Game Pass on day one. If that's going to be a thing. I'd imagine that would be something you would want to show and tell the world now, because a lot of people are going to be tuning in to see the reveal of this, because normally these games are revealed later in the year. It's been a while since we've seen a Call of Duty game revealed in June. So, there's that from Activision. I don't know if we'll see anything else from them or like Blizzard. I mean, they say Activision and Blizzard, but I'm talking new. Like, yeah, we'll probably get an update on World of Warcraft and Overwatch, right? They'll probably have some trailers or something, but I can't imagine there being anything new announced from Blizzard. And like with Bethesda here, it's like, I'm sure you'll see a Fallout trailer of some kind for Fallout 76 or the off-rumored Fallout 3 remake or remaster or whatever it's supposed to be, right? Like, every year we're always like, oh, Bethesda's going to be there. What are they going to show? And it's Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. Well, now there's a reason to actually show Fallout 76 because people love Fallout now. So I'm sure both of those will be there. But I'm also expecting...
I don't know if Fallout 76 will be there, because they will have dropped the update by then, and they'll have nothing really to show unless they want to recap it. Same with World of Warcraft.
I mean, come on, it's Fallout. Look how big it is. Like, you would think it would be there, but maybe it's not. But I expect its new game to be shown, which I think is going to be Doom. There's some, people are like, is it Doom? Is it Quake? It's probably going to be Doom.
Medieval Doom.
Which is super cool because I love it and I love the Doom series. So I think they'll be there. Maybe we see the people who make Elder Scrolls. I mean, they've been working on their new game for a while. I mean, maybe we see some of that stuff. I don't think we see anything from Tango Gameworks. I think it would be too early to see anything from them. I can't imagine seeing anything from Arcane Austin. We're not going to see anything from Blade. That's too early from Arcane Leon. So we'll see Indiana Jones again with a more trailer with a release date, or at least a release month. And yeah, its game. And then Xbox Game Studios, I mean, what are you going to have? You're going to have like Gears 6, Gears Collection, Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3, Clockwork Revolution, South of Midnight, just off the top of my head about things that most likely be there, because our buddy, the one and only Tom Warren, sort of let people know not only what might be there, but also when to expect them. So Tom Warren says this will be the first Xbox showcase featuring games across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Microsoft Game Studios. I understand Microsoft is currently planning to announce a new Gears of War game during the show. The showcase will also include a number of release dates for upcoming Xbox games like Flight Simulator, Avowed, Indiana Jones, and The Great Circle. We'll get a date on Shattered Space expansion coming to Starfield. And he says, I understand Blizzard is targeting September. Activision is targeting the next Call of Duty for late October, with Avowed and Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 likely to follow in November, and Indiana Jones in December. So that's a pretty stacked fall. You include Hellblade 2 in May. It's a pretty good year, even though if most of it is like shotgun blast literally at the last 4 months of the year, as Microsoft has typically been want to do, even though they've always said they want to spread things out. But this year it seems like everyone's just like, end of the year. So, yeah, obviously there's also something like Towerborn, right? Is Towerborn still coming this year, or is that getting delayed to next year?
I honestly don't know. I mean, Towerborn's been in closed beta now for a while. There is some information out there from people who, violating the NDA like naughty boys. But it seems like it's shaping up nicely. I played it last year at. Did I play it last year at Gamescom? I did, right? I'm not violating NDA. I just have to blaming everyone. But I enjoyed it. What I played from it at Gamescom, and yes, but I have no idea what their scope is for that game, how far they want to go with it, what they want to add to it. I mean, it's for those who don't know, Towerborn's kind of like a side-scrolling Diablo-y kind of game, side-scrolling hack and slash, kind of like it's almost like what you would have got if Castle Crashers had become a service game, kind of with really cool combat, Monster Hunter style, crafting and all that kind of stuff. But there's a load of studios that we just don't know what they're working on. Like a Double Fine, for example. Maybe we know names of games, but we don't know like what they actually look like and how they play. There's games that have just been completely AWOL, like
Everwild or State of Decay 3 or
Everwild,
Perfect
Contraband.
Dark, Contraband. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a lot
None of these games we haven't seen any of these games in motion. We haven't seen gameplay. It's kind of wild to me that we've seen gameplay of Clockwork Revolution, in-engine footage of Clockwork Revolution, but we haven't seen anything from Contraband. It's kind of wild, right? And we knew about Contraband a long time ago.
Project Typhoon.
And Project Typhoon, baby. Back from when I wasn't the agent of chaos and everyone thought it was great that I was leaking everything. But yeah, there's tons that could be in the show potentially. It just depends on like what those development timelines look like and if they've actually got good enough footage to show. Because as we've seen kind of from modern game development, a lot of the polish on the visual pass goes through towards the end. And as a basic example, Halo Infinite finished product looks a lot better than its initial showing, because they implemented better lighting, they improved models based on the feedback and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we see an updated Avowed, because I remember a lot of people were kind of mixed on the way Avowed looked and its tone and all that kind of stuff, but maybe they tweak some of that and maybe we get a new showing of Avowed and more of an idea of how it plays and what we can expect from it, There's tons that could show, man. There's absolutely tons that could show.
Absolutely.
But I think this is it, right? This is it for me. This is what I'm kind of hoping, right? There's a ton that we could see, and I think that we deserve to see. But I also really want some actual hardcore, full-bore surprises. Stuff that's completely unexpected. The sort of one more thing kind of moment. I would love for some of that, Because we know that there's a Contraband. We know there's a Blade. We know there's an Indiana Jones. We know there's a Hellblade. We know there's a Everwild. We know that they exist. But imagine if they announced a new Killer Instinct. Imagine if they did announce a new StarCraft.
Or some of these Banjo for the Banjo Bros.
For the Banjo Bros.
A new new StarCraft, like you said. What a new Guitar Hero.
A new Guitar Hero. What about I don't know. What about I don't know. There's just something nostalgic and something that'll make fans happy and just be like, oh wow, I can't believe they're doing that again, kind of thing. Because we do live in this era of, oh god, black hole games, this, black hole games, that. It feels like there's not a lot of room left for for us old core gamers, dude. Not a lot of room left for us in this mean old world. But yeah, I want surprises, man. Maybe they announced Scalebound's coming back around.
Oh my god, could you imagine? There hasn't been that too many Scalebound mentions on the show recently, but yeah. But I mean, even looking at Tom's thing here, where you look at like, okay, the release cadence with Hellblade coming in May of this year, you have a big expansion with all the updates for Starfield in September. You have Call of Duty in October. You have Avowed and Flight Sim in November, and Indiana Jones in December. Not to mention like Towerborn fit in somewhere around there. You know, people have speculated about Gears Collection. Is that coming this year? You don't really need a lot of lead up time to even like. You don't need to announce a collection like that a year in advance. That to me, that's something you announce and then you release a couple months later. Because I don't think it really needs that much hype behind it, right? Now, Gears 6 is something that you announce years ahead. But even like if it was the case of Gears Collection, is that something you announce and then release in August of this year? Right, because I looked when the Gears Ultimate Edition came out in 2015, when they remade Gears 1 and I think on Unreal Engine 4 for the Xbox One. That came out in August of 2015. So it's like, okay, well, if we're doing Gears Collection this year, okay, yeah, like August seems like a good month to have Gears Collection. Then you run into Starfield and you run into all these other games. I mean, because Matt Booty did say they got 10 plus releases this year. And they haven't released anything yet. Although they do consider like expansions like Diablo 4 part of that stuff. And I would imagine expansion like for World of Warcraft, which isn't the Warrior Within or whatever the hell it's called for World of Warcraft supposed to come out this fall or this year.
Yeah, the War Within's probably August, September.
But I don't think they consider like seasons. So like I don't think Sea of Thieves Season 12 would be considered part of the 10. But maybe it is. I don't know that, but but then you say like, oh well, Indiana Jones December. I mean, that's just like, hey, we run into one issue or a couple problems, and boom, that game's kind of pushed into next year at that point, right? So yeah, I mean, you got Avowed, you got Microsoft Flight Sim, you got a whole bunch of other things. There are a lot of things Xbox can show because they're at that point. It's like, do you see Fable again? Because I'm trying to think. In my mind last year, like what do you start? What do you open the show with? And like right now in my mind, when I haven't really heard anything about the show or whatever, this is how I picture it going, right? I think you open with Perfect Dark. How's that? You open with Perfect Dark, and then you end up. See, it's tougher to say what you close with because you know what you're closing with is Call of Duty. Right? So what I think the last game will be shown, and then Phil will come on stage and he recaps the show, and then it's like, here's the Call of Duty thing. So in my eyes, you would begin with Perfect Dark, just like they kind of did with Fable last year, right? An announced game that people have been waiting forever to see. So you do it with Perfect Dark. And then the last game you see before Call of Duty, before Phil comes on, is Gears 6. And then you can have whatever you want in the meantime, right? Your State of Decay 3, do we get another look at Fable? Do we see Contraband? Do we see any other projects that Microsoft has that, like the IO Interactive, there's so much stuff. Bethesda, Activision, and like how much time do you devote to it, right?
There's also like third-party stuff.
Yeah, third-party stuff, indie stuff.
What if like they get, I don't know, announce a bunch of more partnerships with Square Enix, maybe Final Fantasy 16.
Like Final Fantasy 16 could be there,
Jim Ryan comes out on stage.
Jim Ryan's no longer in the video game industry, sir. He's retired.
No, he's joining Xbox, bro.
Yeah,
My
could you
uncle,
imagine?
my uncle Dave told me.
You better be careful because that news will be up on Reset real soon.
Yeah, my uncle Dave told me Jim Ryan joining Xbox.
Alongside Sean Layden, right? My uncle Bill told me that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit. Bill and Dave know each other.
My uncle Ray told me that Sony's search for a new CEO has ended, and then it's going to be Bobby Kotick taking over PlayStation. So.
Oh my god.
And they're also hiring his second in command, Phil Harrison. He's coming back. Agent 47.
I thought you were gonna say Phil Spencer then.
No, it's gonna be Bobby Kotick and his right hand man, Phil Harrison.
Oh man.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to look forward to in June, and then the rest of the 2024 lineup, and then whatever they're gonna date for 2025. So it's gonna be big, man. It's gonna be big. I
think it's gonna be
I expect this to be Xbox's best showcase in
ever.
Yeah, I mean, last year's was pretty damn good. 2018's was great. I think this is going to be one of their best. And they have the content, and that the content is all there finally ready to be shown. It's all coming soon. So it's like, now's the time to show it all. You got Blizzard there. You got Activision and Blizzard joining. Call of Duty is going to bring a lot more eyes on this show than you probably have in the past, because everybody's always interested in that, right? You've had Bethesda for a bit. They have new projects to announce. I mean, a Doom announcement would be absolutely massive. And all
Medieval Doom.
Yeah, and then Medieval Doom. And then whatever else you have from your first-party studios, like, it's just going to be... You could probably run a whole show where it's just strictly first-party content. You don't even really need to flesh it out with any indie games or even third-party games if you wanted to. But they will, right? Because they'll have the Game Pass stuff. And I just sort of wonder if there'll be any big third-party games there. Because, like, Star Wars Outlaws was at last year's show. And I guess Star Wars Outlaws could be at this year's show, too, because... it doesn't come out till August, and does Xbox have the marketing for it? But yeah, I'm expecting big things from this one.
Yeah, so. I think it's going to be amazing. I think there's going to be just tons of stuff, and I think Microsoft knows that they need to have a really great show with fan favorite stuff baked in there to offset some of the drama with the third party stuff. And yeah, I know people say like, "Oh yeah, well, when's this coming to PlayStation?" But I just kind of don't care. I mean, it just is what it is, and you just kind of have to see where it all goes. At the end of the day, the games will be fun, and do it.
Someone just did send me the WCCF Tech article they made about you. Xbox insider Jez Corden hints at major Xbox titles, including Halo and Forza, potentially making their way to PlayStation consoles. That's funny.
It's hilarious, and like obviously, they never. My DMs are open. They could have messaged me and done some due diligence, but they didn't. I went straight for the clickbait. But it's whatever, man. They got community noted. Bless them.
Bless them.
Bless them. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the showcase, man. I really am. I really am looking forward to the showcase. I think. Yeah. I'm hyped for it.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
So apparently, Sucker Punch announced that a PSN account is required for Legends Online multiplayer mode and to use the PlayStation overlay, but it's not required to play the single player game.
Sucker Punch for what?
Sucker Punch announced today. They said, just so you're aware, a PSN account is required for Legends Online multiplayer mode and to use PlayStation overlay. It is not required to play the single player game.
What is Legends?
Legends was the multiplayer co-op mode they added after the game originally came out. It's a multiplayer co-op mode. It's like PvE kind of thing. But obviously with all the Steam stuff that's going on with Helldivers 2 right now, it's just funny to see Sucker Punch come out and say, well, actually, here's what our plan is. So you need an account for Legends, the online multiplayer, and to use the overlay, but you don't need an account to just play the single-player campaign. So it's kind of funny that this is all sort of a thing that they need to come out and say, right?
Yeah, it's... I mean... Microsoft requires a Microsoft account for some of this stuff, so
I think don't they require a Microsoft account for like
the online games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just mean it's not outside. It's surely not outside scope that Sony would require an account for some of this stuff. And I get that it's inconvenient and stuff. I'm just kind of used to it, having to have an account for pretty much everything that I play as a service game player. You know,
right.
I had an issue where like I couldn't my Blizzard Authenticator wasn't giving me a code to log in. I was like, this is so annoying. And also like it's become annoying that when you open the Xbox PC app on Windows, it also opens Battle.net. They're like linked together now. So like I'm kind of forced into this double launcher universe, which is also very irritating and a strange implementation, but it's also not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal if you are someone who doesn't have access to do that in the first place, and you've been sold a game that will no longer work as a result of that. That really does suck. But I think for most people, it's just a minor inconvenience. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Hitman Official with the 199 says, Scalebound, one more thing moment. Could you imagine? And break the internet and destroy this podcast if that's the case. Derek's with the 5 says, Jez and Rand, what's the over-under on accessories like that new Sebel controller showing up? It's a game showcase, not holding my breath, but curious. Yeah, then there is the hardware side of things. Right? They're calling it the game showcase, so does hardware make sense to announce at something like this? And I know, like Sarah Bond said, they have hardware stuff to announce towards the end of the year, which is not the showcase. But I mean, there is that white Series X that we've seen leaked, the all digital, the adorably digital, as Microsoft called it in their leaks. Does that make did they announce that at this show? Aaron Greenberg will usually sort of clarify about like, hey, what to expect is like any business related things or what have you. Does that make an appearance, or maybe it's an announcement that they share outside of the show that's not part of the show, but it's like, hey, here's the thing, potentially. The new controllers, I mean, I'd like for them to show up. I could, why not? Like, haptic controllers are cool. I just don't like the adaptive triggers. I don't know. I mean, the way they kind of phrase it as a game showcase, has there really been any hardware stuff at any of these things since?
They usually do hardware like the ancillary events, like how they do like little chat shows around the events. Because obviously Microsoft's going to be there at Summer Game Fest too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think like there is every potential that they will announce hardware during the festivities. And Summer Game Fest this year is very, very E3 like. It's going to be very E3 like. There's a lot of devs that kind of like require you to be in Summer Game Fest in order to get access to their shit. So that's pretty cool.
Are you going to that? Are you going to Summer Games Fest?
I don't know.
Interesting. What else we got here? We have Meat Puppet says Jez will finish 3 games before Rand on camera. Well, we'll see. Are you doing 3 more reviews anytime soon? I don't know. Scarecrow 121 member for 50 months. Big virtual hug for Jez and a shout out for Monkey versus Trunks, who's having a rough day. All the best, guys. Hey, hope everything's going good. Monkey versus Trunks. Hugs from me and Jez.
Hugs.
Yeah, let me see what else we got here. I want to ask you about this. Did you see this announcement about Hasbro making the jump into video games?
I did.
Investing over $1 billion into their studios and devs. They got 4 internal AAA studios so far. One of them is making the sci-fi RPG Exodus, which is from Archetype Entertainment. There's a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game from Atomic Arcade that's supposed to be in the vein of Batman Arkham Asylum, which to me is like, excuse me? I go for that. A Dungeons and Dragons game from Invoke Studios, and a horror game from Skeleton Key Dev. The portfolio of games goes, quote, much larger than anything we're talking about right now. The goal is to be authentic and focused on quality so players trust in the company. Hasbro has a very deliberate plan to give their teams the time to get the games right. Everything's going to stay in the oven as long as it needs to. And the leadership of Atomic Arcade worked on Batman Arkham Asylum, looking with Snake Eyes to do for that character something similar to what the Arcane games did for Batman. Arkham games did for Batman. I saw this stuff and I was just like, 1, I was excited because they all seem like super cool. But then 2, I'm like, does Hasbro see like what's going on in the video game industry lately? Like, you know what I mean? Or we're investing $1 billion into these big AAA games, and it's kind of like the opposite of what's currently going on right now, where everybody's getting laid off and projects are getting scoped down and budgets cut and just canceled in general, you know?
I think when I saw the Hasbro investment, I rolled my eyes.
What?
Because I rolled my eyes.
You don't want to play a Snake Eyes game from G.I. Joe? You don't want to play a Dungeons and Dragons game or a horror game? Like, doesn't it sound cool as hell? You know, that Exodus game looked cool.
Dude, you can't just throw money at this problem. And you've seen Amazon games fail repeatedly while spending billions of dollars trying to get into gaming. You can't just throw money and expect results. There's like, game development is like a cultural, artistic collaboration between mutual peers. And sometimes you can't just throw money at a problem and expect to suddenly be a player in gaming. You know? I think, like, for Hasbro, the smart play would have been to continue licensing stuff out. You know? But, you know, maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not very confident in Netflix's push either. I know Joe Staten's there, which is awesome. But...
and other people.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, this goes on the heels of the announcement of Take-Two shutting down Roll 7 and Intercept, people that made Ollie Ollie and Kerbal Space Program 2. Yeah. I did see a lot of discussion about that, especially like, oh, you're about to release Grand Theft Auto and all these billions of dollars, but you shut down these 2 studios. It's probably because those 2 studios didn't really make a lot of money, and I mean, I wouldn't care to say why, but, you know, it's just bad time right now for everything. So it's like you see this stuff, which is opposite of what's normally happening, and then it's like, oh, here's Take-Two shutting down these 2 studios, which probably don't cost that much to run in comparison to some of their other things. And yeah, maybe they're not as successful as Grand Theft Auto, but I mean, I couldn't imagine those games losing money. But here we are, right? Everybody's penny pitching. Although it's more like Take-Two's just, I don't know, bro. I know a couple of my friends were really upset about Roll 7 shutting down because they're really big fans of Ollie Ollie, you know, that game. So
yeah, I saw this tweet where it was like, this time last year we were collecting our BAFTA award, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also a new Batman game got announced, Batman Arkham Shadow, which is like, huh? But VR. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, no one cares.
For MetaQuest or what have you. So it's kind of just like, oh, God damn
it. Warner Bros. Be any more disappointing? For real?
Tell me about it. I really just wonder what they're going to do with Rocksteady with the Suicide Squad stuff. It's like, speaking of Batman, it's like, are they going to essentially... How long until they just pull him off of Suicide Squad until they start making something new? And whatever would that new game be? Are they going to go back to their roots to be like, all right, you're making a Batman game because that's what people want and that's what you're good at? Or what? Because...
Honestly, like, are the people that made that game even still there?
Yeah, I know. I think the co-founders are gone. I don't know who else is... I mean... Yeah, I guess there is that too, right? Like, how many people are still left at the studio that made those games? So,
yeah.
Is there anything, any other topics you want to discuss, Jez? We have a super chat here from Derek's $5. Jez, seriously hope the social media drama doesn't get you down. You're among the best. Love your work. Keep your chin high and your skin thick. Thank you, Derek's.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I've grown a really thick skin. I just thought yesterday was funny, I mean, when it's like my fault, it makes me feel bad, but I really didn't feel like yesterday was my fault. And I should be entitled to an opinion. And if people think I'm not entitled to an opinion, then go fuck yourself. It's like that. I literally don't care.
Yeah.
But thanks so much. Like all the nice, I had loads of nice messages from people who, because obviously it was FUD and hate being spread around. There was a bunch of people like saying, "Oh, Jez is drunk again," and it's like, bro, I haven't had a drink for months. Like getting really personal with it, and it's just so weird over plastic. Whatever.
Yeah, well, people have made it a part of their personality, so it is.
That's true.
It is kind of what it is. Yes, they have. Negative latency with the 5 says, lost my dog yesterday. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Says, your cast is just what I need. You do a great job, Rand. Jez, And I always appreciate your energy and enthusiasm for Xbox. See, I'm not the agent of chaos, so.
No, that's true.
That's the Jezaroo. The Jez mode. We all need a Jez mode, right? But like, you know what? I'm gonna go watch the show. Let me turn on Jez mode and have it watch it for me. Oh yeah, Hypercharge. Finally, the game that they've been pimping out forever. The kind of toy soldiers game. Coming to Xbox on May 31st. Finally. The action figures game that's finally got announced.
Is it
or it finally got a release date?
But wasn't it already out on PlayStation?
It's been out on Switch and PC for years. Yes.
Oh.
But it never came out. As far as I understand, it never came out for PlayStation or Xbox. But they've been doing this whole thing about it coming to Xbox for a couple years now, and now it's finally coming. I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation, but I do know it's been out for a while on other platforms.
Xbox gets an exclusive?
What?
Shock horror.
Well, I wouldn't say it's an exclusive. It's been out on PC and Switch for years.
No one cares about Switch.
You don't think anybody cares about Switch? People are waiting with bated breath for any stuff about Switch 2. Right? Magnetic Joy-Cons, slightly bigger screen.
You know what's got magnetic Joy-Cons?
You're not excited about that?
Lenovo Legion Go. It's got magnetic Joy-Cons.
Lenovo Legion Go. Okay. Well, anyways, I think we'll just head on over to get some of these Patreon questions over at patreon.com/XB2. Make sure you get your question in. Sign up for the Patreon so you can access this, ask us some questions, get early access to Xbox 2+1, and access to the exclusive show, Xbox 2 Ultimate. We appreciate everyone who has signed up and supports us month to month. Let me open this up, Jez, and we get some of these questions. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's see where we got here. All right, we got some questions. Here we go. Let's see what kind of questions we got. We got Scarecrow 121. Good day, boys. First cab off the rank. You both didn't take part in the poll on the Discord, so you get to answer it now. What is your favorite cheese? American cheese.
Oh, that's not real cheese.
I mean, that's what it's called, and that's what I normally eat. So yes, American cheese would be my favorite, with followed up by mozzarella cheese as a second. What about you?
I'm quite a fan of Red Leicester, actually.
Okay.
Red Leicester. It's red, and it's from Leicester. Quite like Red Leicester, but also Cathedral City is a big favorite of mine.
We got Lewis Aldridge. Good evening, boys. Hope you both had an amazing week. Internet discourse aside, have either of you two heard any details about the new Fable in regards to custom characters, alternate heroes to choose from, and the RPG mechanics? That is a big no. I have not.
I don't know a damn thing about that game. It's actually shocking how little I know about that.
I would imagine there'll be I would imagine you at least be able to choose a female or male character. I don't know if there'll be in-depth customization. But
it's weird because every other Fable game has had that though.
No, not really in-depth customization. No, not really. Not like it is now. But we'll see.
Couldn't you like change hairstyles and stuff?
I mean, they might have had like 5 preset styles you could choose from, but it wouldn't say it's kind of like the Dragon's Dogma character creator, you know, where you could sculpt. Where you could sculpt your face. I think this one just had like a couple different faces maybe you could choose from, or maybe it was just the female and the male, and it was like, this is what it is. Okay, we got Xbox Dave saying, hey guys, the past few years I've been lucky enough to attend the Xbox Showcase Fan Fest in Madrid and Warsaw. This year it looks like the big LA event is the only show in town with no non-US events announced. Do you think Xbox has changed the way it's thinking about the European market?
I think they are saving money with regards to this stuff. I mean, BlizzCon itself has been cancelled this year. So there's no BlizzCon this year. It's just going to be the Xbox Showcase. So the Xbox Showcase is basically BlizzCon this year. I think it's about cost saving to some degree. But I don't think Microsoft's given up on the European market. There's this rumor going around, which I haven't verified myself yet, that Microsoft's about to expand the Xbox platform officially to some more European Union countries that don't have it officially yet. So that presumably means, you know, investment in offices, localization, customer support in that language, all that kind of stuff. I think Slovenia was mentioned specifically. So, and Microsoft's all about trying to find new users. So like you kind of have to, if you're going to find new users, one good place you could find them is potentially Europe, where Xbox is pretty much non-existent, and also PC gaming is so dominant. So I don't think Microsoft's given up on European market. It's just FanFest is probably just not a high priority for them this year in terms of how much it costs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's like I agree with Jez. I think it's mostly a cost-cutting thing. It seems like they also sort of scaled down even FanFest here in the States. It's at a different venue, and I think there's less tickets being offered, or less winners for FanFest than previous years. I wouldn't even be surprised if they thought about canceling it completely.
Yeah.
At some point, right? So
there's no fans left, eh?
I guess, yeah.
Because the Agent of Chaos has pushed everyone away.
Yeah, Agent of Chaos, sorry, guys. You asshole.
I destroyed the brand, bro.
You did.
Destroyed the brand, bro.
You should feel awful about it.
I do. I feel terrible.
You should.
Terrible.
Sierra11 Kevin says, Jez, I agree with your comments that Microsoft will release many more games on PlayStation and Nintendo, but Microsoft would ultimately want to turn that customer into a subscription-based customer, Game Pass tier. Is the long play on those games on competing consoles to eventually entice those players to join the Microsoft ecosystem on PC? For me, it is hard to justify a second console, so I haven't bought a PlayStation since the third one, but eventually I will need another PC. That is where I'm thinking Microsoft could start pulling in PlayStation and Nintendo players when they see ads in Windows talking about the Xbox console experience on PC, because I fully believe they're bringing Xbox certified PCs and PC Game Pass. Example, say the Gears of War collection does come out on everything, then Gears 6 releases, a PS player enjoyed the collection, has a PC, sees Game Pass price, and joins to try, versus expecting the player to jump from PlayStation to Xbox Series console. Thoughts?
I mean, that's a lot there to unpack. But basically, yeah, I mean, they are this is what I believe from hints I've been getting, is that the next Xbox is going to be more PC-like in the sense that it's going to be closer than ever to Windows development, which again reduces costs for developers, and also, you know, it's going to have the ability to sideload things like the Epic Game Store. And that's something Phil's teased, you know, so it's not exactly new information or a leak or anything like that. Phil teased that what would it look like if Epic Game Store was on Xbox, and that's basically a hint is like,
wouldn't
yeah,
look any different because nobody uses the Epic Game Store anyway, so big waste of time.
Yeah, I mean,
now you want to make a splash about something, it'd be Steam, a store people actually use and care about, not the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, well, presumably if it's Windows-like, then you will be able to install Steam as well. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to, I would presume, in that universe. But even still, Rand, I think Epic Game Store, if it was just Epic Game Store, that would still be that would be beneficial to Xbox because all the PlayStation games are on Epic Game Store because Sony is a pretty large investor, I think, in Epic Games. And their games are on the Epic Game Store, if I remember correctly. But anyways, what was the other part of the question? I'm kind of...
Basically, like, if they release, like, Gears Collection, it's not so much about getting people to buy another console, but, like, seeing the game on there and being like,
okay.
Gears Collection is on PlayStation, but Gears 6 isn't. Let's move to PC type of thing.
I think there's probably just a mentality that the more you push your ecosystem, the more you'll capture a zeitgeist, and the more potential you have to actually convert someone into a user of your ecosystem. You know, you can't compete with Fortnite if you're not even there present in the game, you know. And every game has to compete with Fortnite now for attention. You can only play one game at once. And like, I don't think people appreciate how much games like Fortnite have completely just made it so hard to get visibility on anything you've got. And if you've got, like, you know, for Xbox's lineup, there's ways they could potentially keep a PlayStation player in their own ecosystem, but still sort of monetize them on the side. I think, like, in the Newzoo report that I've got, the analysis, one of the things they say is one of the ways that they expect Game Pass will grow is through a massive expansion of Game Pass perks. So one thing that they'll probably look at doing, for example, is when you boot up Call of Duty on your PlayStation, they'll be like, oh, by the way, exclusive skins with Game Pass, you know. And presumably if, like, the onboarding experience for that is through the PlayStation Store, and this is just an example, I don't know if this is happening or not, but it's just an example of what could happen, is that Microsoft could be like, yeah, we'll offer you exclusive stuff, perks, whatever, if you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, even if you're a PlayStation player. People do want skins and all that kind of stuff. Are people gonna subscribe specifically for skins? Probably not in huge numbers, but people subscribe to Fallout first just to get, like, a few extra bits and bobs here and there, and, like, the camp stuff, and you know. So it's not without the realm of possibility, but I don't know if Microsoft themselves know where this could all go. They're just kind of following Tencent's model, which is monthly active users above everything else. No matter where they are, who they are, it's monthly active users above everything else. I just think Microsoft needs to make sure they're still offering a consistent experience, because it's going to be weird if, like, I already think it's weird that I can't log into Fallout Shelter with my Microsoft account. I don't want Google Play achievements, you know. If it is about the ecosystem, then make it about the ecosystem. Be consistent about it, you know. Because Fallout Shelter on mobile could bring people into the Xbox ecosystem if it had, like, achievements and Xbox login and all that, but it doesn't. It's got Google login and Google achievements. Just an example. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. The wider strategy will probably come into view after the showcase.
Interesting. We have a question here from Cbot. It says, hi guys, probably not something many Xbox 2 listeners care about, But if the intention is to get Steam and or other PC stores working on the next Xbox, is there any future for achievements? I know there were rumblings about an achievement overhaul, but achievements seem to be a time money sink for studios, and the additional storefronts could help third-party studios avoid the need to do achievements at all. I understand it's a requirement to have achievements to get on the Xbox Store at present, but if devs can put their content on Xbox through other stores, the amount of games carrying achievements could be restricted. It'd be a huge shame to marginalize the system after a decade and a half, and after the massive time investment from the Xbox achievement community, especially Rand. Will this be an unfortunate casualty of their future plans? And do you think there is a way they can mandate them going forward? I think if Xbox are banking on being a service-oriented brand above all else, then hopefully they don't take a passive approach and that features like this fall to the wayside. I care about this subject a bit since I started achievement hunting with my little brother a few years ago when he got too sick to go out regularly, and I've been keeping his account going ever since he passed away. Thanks for constantly delivering a great show. Thank you, Cbot.
I'm sorry, sad to hear about that, man. But I tell you, I literally had a conversation with someone about Xbox, someone at Xbox about achievements recently, and you know, it's kind of like I was told basically similar to what Phil said before that, you know, that Phil did talk about achievements before and how they want to do it and stuff like that, and I do think there is this sort of a contention about like we've got so much dev work we need to do and so many products we need to work on right now, and some of those products are like really intensive and really expensive dev efforts. You know, if they are bringing the Epic Games Store to Xbox and unifying that whole platform, then they kind of need to have all developer hands on deck to make, you know, the Xbox ecosystem function directly with Win32 development environment, right? Which kind of makes I guess it ends up pushing things like achievements down the list of priorities. But they've taken so many liberties with the community recently. I would just love to see them throw a bone and just be like, yeah, okay, we'll give you platinum achievements and maybe revise some of these policies on like you know, letting these unscrupulous publishers just make these shitty games that have an easy 3,000 game score, because it kind of devalues the whole proposition, right? So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I mean,
but I'll keep advocating for that.
I don't know, like doesn't Steam require achievements too? I mean, I don't know if anybody cares about Steam achievements, but
Steam does not require achievements, I don't think.
Yeah, I know Xbox wants to
include them anyway.
Well, yeah, they include them anyway because they include them in the other platforms that require them.
Yeah, I don't think they expect achievements. So Steam does have, but the Microsoft Store doesn't require achievements either. A lot of games on the Microsoft Store for Xbox, whatever, they don't have achievements.
Yeah, but it is required if you're making an Xbox game, though.
Yeah, it is required on Xbox, yes.
And I don't really see them getting rid of that requirement, so. And that, you know, one of the other things, like the previous person had brought up about, like, oh, even you saying Xbox wants to be more PC-like and Steam-like, even in your opinion. But they have a long way going to get there because of their whole certification process. Is long, costs a lot of money, where it's like super easy to get a game up and running on Steam. I mean, you saw Thomas Mahler, creative director of Moon Studios. They're talking about No West for the Wicked, and someone asked him why isn't it on the other platforms like Xbox, and it's just like, oh, well, Steam is like super easy, blah, 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 it's a breeze, but you have to deal with all the other certification stuff these other platforms would have, and it's just, you know, we just want to focus on this. So if Xbox wanted to become more PC-like in the future, they're going to have to really, like, let down a lot of their stipulations when it comes to their whole certification process and everything that entails, because
it's solvable though. It's a solvable problem.
I mean, but it's been like that since the 360 generation. They take a long time to do anything.
Exclusivity, man. They're throwing everything out the window.
Exclusivity, but that's just like the game's exclusive or it's not. Right? This is how oh, a team needs to test this out. We need to make sure XYZ is doing this properly. All these other things that would go to make sure that like the thing you bought it doesn't crash your system or erase your hard drive or all these sort of things. Where on Steam, it's kind of just like you don't need to do any of that stuff, or at least not as intensive as it is, and that's why all those early access games come to Steam, because it's like so easy to do, where they hardly ever, they never come to PlayStation or Nintendo because they don't allow it, and Xbox has their own early access setup that is a little bit less restrictive, but everybody sort of hates that process of what it's like to go through. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to put, No West for the Wicked on Xbox if it was as simple as it was on Steam, but it's not. So it's like you could say you want to be more like Steam, but until that is rectified, you're not going to get there. And they could rectify it, but it'll take some changing. But as far as achievements go, I don't really see them getting rid of it, because if you look at like, okay, what's going to differentiate the platform from, let's imagine a scenario where the Steam's on your Xbox or Xbox's games are everywhere else. Well, it's going to be what the platform provides, which is going to be like Game Pass and like whatever your profile is with achievements or whatever they decide to do with that. That'll be like, oh, I'm here because of my controller, my friends, my achievements, whatever else, future things they do, and for Game Pass. So getting rid of achievements would be like giving people less of a reason to invest in your ecosystem, or at least make it stand out less in the future. So it's not something. Yeah. It's not something
part of
I
Xbox's
think.
Identity, and it's kind of low hanging fruit. And honestly, I think it might be more difficult to actually remove them at this point, because it's kind of baked into the whole fabric of Xbox Live. Yeah. The whole kit and caboodle. Like, it's tied to Microsoft rewards in some ways, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't think they'll get rid of it.
We got Dave Ramos. Hola, folks. I wanted to get your take on idea I keep coming back to perform a confidence check, and it's related to Nintendo's transition to Switch and Xbox's transition to being a PC. Here's my thought process followed by a question. Thanks in advance and stay awesome. First, Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch is widely successful because Nintendo offered both its mobile and DS user base and its console Wii user base single path forward, the Switch. With both user bases combined, it has driven Switch to uber sales status. Wonderful. Now turning to Xbox. Xbox is attempting a coalescence of its own with two bespoke user bases, the Windows PC and Xbox. So here's my question. Nintendo enjoyed a benefit by offering its users a single upgrade path. Will Xbox enjoy, or does Microsoft hope, a similar merging benefit will occur by making Xbox more like PC? In essence, providing both an upgrade path for PC players by making Xbox more like a PC and an upgrade path for Xbox players who get to upgrade to the newest Xbox. Or am I drawing a false equivalency between the Nintendo's transition to the Switch and Xbox's transition to being a PC? Thanks for reading this far, gents. Sorry for such a long question. P.S. I realize any benefit Xbox would see would be magnitudes less than Nintendo because the PC is an open platform. So are there comparisons to draw between the two, Jez? Is one like the other? What do you think?
It's kind of tough to say, because we don't know the full identity of what Xbox's PC offering looks like. Is it going to be truly open? Is it going to sort of be a halfway house? Are they going to take a cut from Steam and Epic Games? Or is it going to be truly open? Is it going to be truly Windows? Are we going to see third-party Xboxes, for God's sake? I mean, it's certainly possible, I've got this feeling that Microsoft might just be building all up a gaming OS, a gaming operating system analogous to Android, which anyone can build for, where it's like you get this suite of Windows APIs in a cheaper version, a gaming focused version of Windows that anyone can leverage, where like Xbox leads the way in what the hardware looks like, and then other developers can come in and try and, take a piece of that, maybe. But and that's why it kind of makes it hard to compare to Switch, because it's so radically different to what Switch is doing, you know. So I'm not sure if I've like fully understood the comparison in a way.
Yeah, I get the comparison. I don't think Xbox is like, I get the comparison he's trying to draw here. Nintendo's like, we had our mobile, we had our like mobile stuff and we had our console stuff and we combined them into one and boom, here it is, the Switch. Where Xbox is PC and Xbox is like, boom, we're going to combine them into one. I don't know if that would. Yeah, I don't think that's like. How do I explain this? For Nintendo, it worked because you had two different audiences buying into like one single product, and there's only currently one way to get Nintendo games, which is what everybody wants on Nintendo platforms. Xbox console and Xbox on PC, combining them, I don't think would really like improve the situation like with Nintendo, because Nintendo had two big user bases that they combined, and I don't really think Xbox has a big presence on PC in general at all, really. Like, their biggest thing is the console space. So I sort of feel like combining Xbox PC and Xbox console is just, you're just basically just Xbox console. Right? Whereas like with Nintendo, there's a whole bunch of people on Nintendo consoles and a whole lot of people on Nintendo mobile. So we combine them into one. This one, I really don't think there's many people who would console themselves Xbox gamers on PC that use like the Windows Store and stuff. Maybe, or like Windows Game Pass PC users. I don't really think there's that many. Whereas like everything else is on console. I think it's lopsided to a certain degree that I don't think it would be this like huge thing. But that's just me. And I don't even know if they're trying to do that at all, really.
It's an interesting topic.
Lee Sanders says, personally, I hope we see something regarding contraband. Yes, it would be cool to see other things, but personally want to see more about the games we know nothing about. What game or studio do you want to hear an update about at the showcase? It's been time. I want to see what the new thing they're working on. And if not id, then Perfect Dark. It's been 4 years. Show me Perfect Dark, please. That'd be for me. And Jez, you want to pick one? I'm sure for you, I'll answer Jez. State of Decay 3 for Jez.
Yep, you know it.
You know it.
Exactly what I was going to pick.
Laser Wolf says, good guy Jez just wanted to take the heat off of John from Xbox Era for being the person who destroyed Xbox. Now that Xbox is dead and buried, what's your favorite all-time Xbox exclusive? Ori and the Will-O-Wisps, I think. Probably is mine. Or, Halo 2. Halo 2. I'll go Halo 2 is probably my favorite. Or at least means the most for me. Yeah, I'm not saying Halo 2 is the best, but I'm saying it's probably my personal favorite. Because there's always a difference between saying something is your favorite and something that's the best, isn't there? You know?
Yeah.
So my favorite would be Halo 2. Yours would be...
Fallout 3 was timed exclusive, wasn't it? I think.
No, Oblivion was. I'm pretty sure Fallout 3 wasn't.
Okay.
But Fallout 3 did not run well on the PS3 at all.
Yeah, I think it was sort of like a de facto exclusive because of that. Top exclusive for me, I honestly don't know. I mean, probably the one I've enjoyed the most is probably State of Decay 2, to be honest. The one I've played the most. I got like 300, 400 hours in that game. I mean, and it's weird because I know it's not the best game out there.
Well, that's what it is your favorite doesn't necessarily have to be the best. Yeah. It's just your favorite.
State of Decay 2. It's the one I played the most.
State of Decay 2 for Jez. Yes. Achievement. Do you think Game Pass will dictate Xbox's decision to extend the cross-gen period when Xbox Gen 10 hits? I don't think Game Pass will. I think the audience will. And I think like the idea of like needing to reach as many people as possible is what would extend the cross-gen period. Right?
Yeah, the cross-gen period is like... We've moved to a more mobile phone-like... People always said that mobile phone would kill the console industry. And it kind of has, because we've moved into this world where mobile phone-like games are dominating on console. You could say Fortnite is basically a mobile game. It's available on mobile. It has mobile phone-like microtransactions, and it's free to play, and it's got simplistic graphics, whatever. And the idea that you can't cut Fortnite off. If you make a console which isn't backwards compatible, and you go to Epic and say, look, we need you to make a new version of Fortnite for this console, that's not going to work in current year. It's just not going to work. So everything has to be backwards compatible and more mobile phone-like. Like, everything that runs on my current Android phone is going to run on next year's phone, and it's going to run on the phone after that, and the phone after that, and the phone after that, And that's kind of the world video game consoles have moved towards, So I can't remember what the original question was at this point.
About cross-gen period. Why would it be extended?
I think it's just infinite now. I think cross-gen period is infinite. As long as like there's still X many millions of people playing Fortnite on...
I guess there's a difference between like what publishers would do and what Xbox has done, because as far as we know, Xbox's crop of games for now and moving forward, they aren't going to be on Xbox One. Right? Like, Avowed's not on Xbox One, Hellblade 2 is not on Xbox One, Indiana Jones not on Xbox One. Like, none of their games coming out are going to
I guess
last gen's console.
It's all in preparation for Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I mean, I guess the question is when is Call of Duty going to end? Cut off last gen. Will they ever cut off last gen? Because Warzone's still on the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Is this going to be the year where like maybe the new campaign and multiplayer are next gen only or current gen only, and it's not available on Xbox One and
this year?
PS4? Is it this year?
I doubt it.
And then
I think that's the thing. Call of Duty, like the costs of everything has gone up. The cost of everything has gone up. So, can you even afford to cut off last gen?
Maybe. I guess it depends on the optics and how many people are still playing on last gen.
And it's different for like... I don't know. I mean, I suppose like with Call of Duty, they could cut off last gen because everyone who doesn't want to upgrade, they'll just stay playing the last Black Ops. Like, every Call of Duty game still has a player base. Like, every single one. It's not like you can log on to any Call of Duty and find a match. Any single Call of Duty. I mean, yeah, maybe you might struggle in some regions to find a big team battle that... Well, that's Halo. What's ground war? You might struggle to find a Call of Duty ground war in certain regions, maybe. But all the crossplay versions, they have like full servers all the time. It's getting late here, man. Sorry, but yeah. I don't know. I've got friends who still play Overwatch on 1S. For God's sake.
Sick and tired. Hello, lads. Do you think there is not an opportunity for another attempt by Valve to release new Steam machines? If Xbox continues this third-party trend, I can see a mass exodus of core Xbox players to PC, and with the success of the Steam Deck, now might be a good opportunity for Valve to have another shot at it. That might be their heir apparent to Xbox in the same way Xbox was for Dreamcast. Outside of Valve, I don't see any company who can do it. I don't think so. I think they're just going to stick with the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I think the issue for Valve is that a Steam Deck competes. A Steam machine competes with a full-bore PC. And I think too many PC gamers would just want a full-blown PC experience. I think Xbox can get away with doing something similar to a Steam Deck, a Steam machine, because they've already got an install base. They've got us, and presumably most people on Xbox would upgrade to the Steam machine version of Xbox, or whatever you want to call it down the line. I know I will. I mean, as long as it works and it plays my games and it looks good on the TV and all that kind of stuff and has my controller, then yeah, I mean, it's I will upgrade to it, you know. And they'll also have a full-blown library of games and all that kind of stuff. But it's different now, I suppose, for Valve, because they've got Proton and the emulation layers are so good now that they could have another go at it. But maybe Microsoft's partnering with Steam on the next Xbox iteration, and maybe they're working together on it. You know, you never know.
Silas says, "Good afternoon, mates. Okay, Jez, time to put the controller down for a sec. Could you give us a peek behind the curtain of the week in the life of a co-managing editor at Windows Central? What types of meetings do you have? How you assign articles, reviews, and following up on the mandate that your direct reports mention the Windows Phone at least once a week in their published content?"
I'm actually really terrible at my job. I'm not very organized as a person. I just kind of I assign articles on the fly, sometimes at 3 a.m. and stuff like that. And it's kind of tough because everyone in our company's on a different time zone, different areas and stuff. So I just sort of fire out oh, can you write about this? Here's a good angle for that. Here's a headline for this. Just random stuff. And then as for meetings, God, I have a lot of meetings. So we do a Monday check-in. Sorry, mate. God, it's 1 a.m. here. I've been awake for a long time, 15 hours. Do weekly Monday check-in, and then I also do the midweek check-in, and then the end of the week check-in. And then there's also always other random meetings here and there, but it's like a lifestyle job. You're just constantly doing it, constantly talking to the team, constantly talking to everyone else. But I'm going on a nice little break next week, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Good old Colin says, "Happy Star Wars weekend and free comic day. To give due regard to these two events, Rand, we know you like your fantasy and science fiction books. Do you read crime and mystery fiction?" Yeah, I do. I do to kind of jump genres when I read a fantasy something. I'll try to switch genres to read something else. But yeah, I read, like I said, the genres I like to read are fantasy, science fiction, horror, thriller, crime, mystery fiction, I guess. Mystery fiction's thriller. I like to read a whole bunch of stuff. So it's all to keep it sort of feeling new and fresh. I don't want to continuously read the same genre, because then you notice more and more of the similarities. So I like to jump in between different genres to at least get a break, even though you can spot all the different tropes from a mile away. It doesn't make them bad. It's just oh, I've read the story before. Raj says, "Does Rand make exceptions to his no seasoning rule for Cinco de Mayo?" No exceptions. No exceptions to that. Omen, so Digital Foundry just released the video proving that the quality modes on Fallout 4 do not work on Xbox, they only work on PS5. My question is, why is Bethesda still claiming the Xbox version worked fine? And logistically, how did they mess both the technical issues and messaging so badly to double down and low-key gaslight the Xbox community? This could have been solved if they just turned on the Xbox and looked at the screen. I don't know.
That is really strange.
I don't know.
I kind of feel like this is something that happens fairly often in Bethesda, where they sort of flub some of the messaging. And I think part of it is the community team is probably a little bit disconnected from the rest of everything else. I'm kind of remembering like when one of the community managers on Steam said something like, I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but the community manager on Steam replied to a Steam review and said something, almost belligerent, which didn't feel like a good way to speak to the community, and also, yeah, so it'd be, I'll try and get down to the bottom of this. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I have no clue why they came out and said it works perfectly as intended when it didn't. I don't understand. So, yeah, hopefully someone can get to the bottom of it. Yeah. 09C Mine says, hey guys, do you think any of the big black hole games will ever cut off the previous gen at some point? I know they don't have a reason to really, but I suppose from COD and Microsoft's point of view, it may encourage more hardware sales, and they're struggling with that at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, when you think of all the biggest games, they're all on, current gen and last gen. But if we're about to go into a next gen in 2020, well, I mean, if Xbox is jumping early or PlayStation later, do you think at that point, is there, I guess it depends on how many people are still playing on last gen. If it's a small number, they probably will. And then they'll just think, it's not a small number now, but it might be in 5 years though.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right?
Well, they're just about to cut off the 360 store. How long?
Yeah.
And it's taken them a long time to do that. And that is because the 360 was still really active and worthwhile doing. And so, like, you have to wonder how many 360 users might start actually looking to upgrade now that they've reached end of life. But maybe they won't upgrade to Xbox. Maybe they'll just...
Well, it's not so much end of life. It's just like the store's not supported. You can still play the games. I guess you just can't buy them anymore, right? But yeah, I'm just even thinking of
if it was me, I'd be like looking at that and thinking, God, I should upgrade. But
sure.
I'm also like wondering what kind of players are still on 360. It's probably people who really need.
I would love to know the exact numbers of how many are still playing on 360, how many are playing on Xbox One, and how many are playing on current gen. Same thing with PlayStation. How many on PlayStation? How many on PS4? And how many on PS3? Because I was just thinking, like, man, Rainbow Six Siege came out in 2015. It's about 9 years, and that game's still huge. And it's like, how many people are playing Rainbow Six Siege on the Xbox One? And will it still be supported? Like, are we going to get into next generation where Rainbow Six Siege is supported on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox Next? Right? Is Fortnite be supported across all three? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Maybe.
So, I don't know. I think it just they'll drop it when they feel like there's not enough people on last gen to support it. And then they'll cut it then. Thurgus is not a question, but I just want to say thank you for last week. My dad had open heart surgery and a stroke. It's been really hard on me and my mom, but listening to your show gave me time to think about something else and keep my head right. So keep up the great work.
Thanks,
well, man. Hopefully everything goes well with your dad. So, yeah, because I remember when my dad had a lot of medical issues and he was in the emergency. He was in like intensive care for like 2 weeks, was it? And then he was in rehab for like a month. That shit gets depressing, and you get like really down, and but hopefully everything goes well for you, Thurgus. And I'm glad that me and Jez could help you, not think about it during the 4 hours we do the show. Nat Skywalker says, Matt Booty said during Giant Bombs at Night 2023 that Daryl Gallagher, former head of Crystal Dynamics and current head of the initiative, joked to him that if his team isn't at next year's showcase, he would be fired. So begs the question, will we see the debut of Perfect Dark gameplay come June 9th? Cheers, Aiden. I think we will. I think we will. I don't know if it'll be gameplay like people would expect, maybe more in the vein of like what Fable showed. But yeah,
in-engine action.
I'm expecting to see it. And like I said in earlier, I expect it to open. But
expect it to open.
Yeah, open the show. Just James93 says, I've been away for a week and Jez has caused all sorts of drama for Xbox. I didn't know what was going on. My question is, have you ever been away from gaming or socials for a while and something crazy has happened and you thought, what?
Oh, dude. Last summer, I went to Iceland, if you remember.
And the Xbox stuff leaked, like the day you went.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all the Xbox documents leaked about next gen and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, guys, I'm trying to check out this waterfall here, and you're leaking all your docs. You know, you dox yourself. So yeah, that's one thing I guess for me. I don't know if Rand has one. I mean, Rand.
No, I'm usually always sort of clued in, or at least have access to internet or whatever. I haven't really gone on vacation where I like disconnect, so there hasn't really been anything like that for me personally. Hugh says, howdy gents, I was just wondering if either of you have heard anything more about the rumored Destiny type game that Activision started developing when they parted ways with Bungie, or any of their other 9 projects that Dara Strickland posted about a few years ago. I have not. I mean, there's always rumor that they were doing something to do with like a zombie game, or like Infinity Ward was making like some sort of RPG, like shooter RPG or something. There's a lot of those rumors that people talk about, but you never know. You know, either they don't come to fruition or it ends up being folded into like a current Call of Duty game or something, right? So
yeah, Call of Duty is such a vacuum. Like, I do know that Activision's cancelled some projects over the last few years, but like that's not, you know, that always happens. They greenlit a bunch of others. I mean, Blizzard's hiring high up positions for a new game, which clearly is not in an existing service. It's like it's not an expansion. This is clearly like a new project. But nah, I have no idea about any of that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like shooter RPG from Infinity Ward?
Something along those lines, yeah. But yeah, they could be canceled. But a late entry, we have Donataku says, what up, Agent of Chaos Jez and Agent of Bland Rand? No Nintendo today, but I have a fun question for you guys. One of these 3 types of games will be announced at the Xbox Showcase in June. You get to pick what these games are. It cannot be a game that is already announced or leaked rumored. A new AAA IP from an Xbox-owned developer, a new game in an Xbox-owned franchise developed by a third-party studio, and a full remake reboot of an Xbox-owned IP. What games would you have, guys? What games would you guys have at the showcase?
You pick first.
A new game in an Xbox-owned franchise developed by a third-party studio. I want my Quantum Break 2, please.
Yeah, that's a good
There we go. That'll be my answer to that one. What about you, Jez?
I want to see Scalebound come back.
All right, so that would be a full remake reboot of an Xbox-owned IP, then, essentially?
Yeah,
Okay.
Why not?
All right. There you go. StarCraft.
Oh, man. I'll ask Phil about Scalebound when we go.
Yeah, you should.
Hello.
Super chat, we have Inked El Chapo with the 5. I'm so pumped for Contraband. Remind us what it is, Jez. Yes, what is Contraband? I think we've all forgotten about it.
Back in the day, it was a vehicular combat game that focused on heisting and tools and stuff like that, rather than a huge emphasis on violence. But I wonder if it's evolved since then, because to me it sounded like GTA without guns. Or it had guns, but they were de-emphasized in favor of like grappling hooks and stuff like that. You know, it sounded a bit like Sea of Thieves, I guess, but vehicular, I guess, using Avalanche's, you know, vehicular combat systems. But maybe it's just really gone to a bigger scope since then. You know, it was supposed to be set in a fictional Southeast Asian island, I think, where there's sort of like a dictatorship going on, and the sort of, I remember, if I remember correctly, there was like these couriers or something similar to Mirror's Edge. There was a big emphasis on smuggling illicit goods underneath the nose of this dictatorship or something like that. But also it was a multiplayer game, service game. It had a social hub like Destiny and all that kind of stuff, where you could see other players seamlessly, kind of like Towerborn's Tower. But yeah, that was what I think it was supposed to be. But it's been so damn long, it could be anything at this point. But we do know it's not cancelled, at least.
Yeah, I think I missed the super chat earlier. RDX Son of Fett, $6.99.
RDX Son of Fett, yeah, I was going to tell you.
It says Snow Day 4 to 5 on Xbox, 7 out of 10 on Steam. IGN 3 out of 10 is a shit review. Love you guys. Miss Dealer. YouTube makes me feel like Xbox is terminal cancer.
Yeah, the Stealthbox Snow Day thing. I haven't played it myself. I don't. Some people seem to like it and thought the reviews were overly harsh, but I haven't played it myself.
Yeah, I haven't played it myself to know, but I do know that some people thought, like you said, some of the reviews were harsh. Yeah, we got Derek's with the 10. It makes sense to move towards homogeny with PC. Third-party hardware gives options, both higher and lower end. Less logistic costs for Microsoft. First-party hardware can just set new standards for OEMs.
Yeah, I mean, there's something telling there. Like, Microsoft put their Windows OEM chief in charge of Xbox hardware. So if they were going to make a new operating system paradigm, like a gaming version of Windows that third parties could use potentially, like Steam, maybe the next Steam machine is based on this, Xbox operating system.
Yeah.
You would want someone like that in charge, but hey, well, that's speculation, people.
Cheesy McSqueezy says the chances of a Forza 6 reveal. It's been 3 years since 5. Depends, I think, on if it's releasing this year or not. If it's releasing this year, yes. If it's releasing next year, no. And the way that the end of the year is shaping up with, like, I don't think Forza 6 is going to be this year. So I don't know. I'll when I do my predictions, obviously if I think it's going to be here, I'll throw it in there, but they might just have that come out next year. Maybe they're not in a rush, I don't know.
Maybe they got too much content and they want to save some stuff.
And that could be a reason, for sure. So
Xbox with too much content?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, Jez, but we were talking about what they should do with Call of Duty and like integrate it with the Xbox franchises, have like skins, but apparently it was data mined that Fallout's going to be coming to Call of Duty.
Yeah, I covered that.
Yeah.
It was data mined by COD Forum that Fallout is coming to Call of Duty, and also Gundam Wing, and also what was the other one? Was it? No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I wonder if that's like kind of, is that kind of like started the integration with going with them, or is it more like this has been in the works for a while and has nothing to do with like they're both owned by Xbox at this point? It was just that they were going to try to get something Fallout related regardless, I mean, whether it was like for the TV show or...
They've integrated with third-party games before, I think, for Call of Duty, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they have.
I can't.
I mean, like Warhammer. They've got some integrations like with Warhammer and stuff too. So
yeah, the Warhammer stuff was cool. It's really funny because like it kind of bugs me in a way, because I'm like, one thing I used to like about Call of Duty was that it was quite immersive, like World at War is my favorite Call of Duty, which I know is a weird take. I know that wasn't the most popular Call of Duty in general, but it was like a really, what I thought, quite authentic. Well, obviously not authentic in the genuine sense of the word, but it was like a consistent sort of, this is a World War II shooter. But like you can't really do that anymore if you put in random franchises in the middle of those games, right? I don't know. But it seems like they're absolutely doubling down on all that kind of stuff. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it sells, so clearly they're gonna keep doing it, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that's it. And I know you're getting tired, so we're at that point. Yes, but I wanted to thank everybody for hanging out with us today and keeping the Agent of Chaos, the Double Agent of Chaos.
Double Agent of Chaos.
Less chaosy today during the show, I guess.
A little less. Keep on. Gotta wait a few weeks. Wait till Xbox has some good news so I can drop the next bit of bad news to ruin Xbox.
Be the Triple Agent of Chaos.
The Triple Agent of Chaos, yeah.
So
maybe I'll throw some Nintendo FUD in there as well and just get hated by every fan base. Why not?
Yeah, why not? So thank you all for being here. Thank you to the wonderful patrons. You can check us out over patreon.com/XB2. If you're shopping at Manscaped, make sure to use the code XB2 for 20% off and all that good stuff. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the weekend. Jez is going on vacation to Greece. Who knows what sort of crazy things he'll get up to then. Normally when Jez goes on vacation, something happens. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for something to drop while Jez is gone. But we should be back with an episode on Friday. Getting ever so close to the Xbox Showcase. But until then, we love you. You guys are the best. And keep it gaming, everyone.
You guys are awesome.
Later.
Thank you so much.